Chapter 1. In a cave in the snowy mountains of the northeast of Longguo. So dark, so warm, where is this? Cang Nian twisted his body, still a little confused. I remember I was looking at my phone while crossing the road, and I was accidentally hit by a dump truck. How could I survive being hit by a dump truck going 80 miles per hour? Am I a Superman? Cang Nian thought with great doubt. But then, he felt a rolling around him, as if he was cramping, and then the foreign object pressing on his head suddenly disappeared, and the space surrounding him became much more spacious. But before he could stretch his body, he rolled over and over again like in a spasm, and felt an intense squeezing sensation all around. He felt like a sausage in a packaging bag, being squeezed out in a flash. Snap! The next second, he felt himself landing and the air around him suddenly became cold, but fortunately it was still acceptable. But then, an irresistible but extremely gentle force came over him and fiddled with him, which untied the layer of restraints wrapped around his body as he landed. The heavy, warm breath and the sticky liquid made him suddenly realize that some huge creature was licking his body. This made him afraid to move, and he stood there trembling. At this time, he wanted to open his eyes to observe the surrounding situation, but found that his eyes seemed to be glued, and no matter how hard he tried, he could not open them. And the licking force on his body did not stop. After licking off the restraints on his body, he cleaned his body again. Oh! Oh! Just as Cang Nian was shivering on the spot, he heard a baby-like cry in his ears. Wait! The warm, narrow space. Being squeezed out. Licking off the restraints. I'm not dead. Instead, I've been reborn as an animal. This childish cry made a flash of lightning in Cang Nian's mind, connecting all the previous feelings together. Thinking about it this way, the foreign object that had just pressed on the top of his head and then disappeared should be the cub next to him. However, because the calls of mammal cubs are pretty much the same, he couldn't tell what animals his brothers and sisters around him were. Oh! Just as he was wondering, he heard the sound of shaking bushes outside the cave. Ah! But the next second, the big tongue that was licking him suddenly stopped, and it let out a captivating roar towards the outside of the cave. This sound made Cang Nian feel as if his heart was about to break. He could even hear the sound echoing far away. Tiger! It's a tiger! This roar made Cang Nian certain that the big thing that had just licked him was definitely a tiger. He had been to the zoo before and heard the roar of tigers and lions. The roar of tigers was louder and higher pitched, while the roar of lions was deeper. And this big guy is undoubtedly his mother in this reincarnation, a tigress. Hey! Although I failed to be reborn as a human, I was lucky to be reborn as a tiger. It's much better than being reborn as a rabbit or a mouse. At least I don't have to worry about being hunted by creatures other than humans. Such a judgment made Cang Nian feel a little relieved. I am already very lucky to be able to live a second life, especially as a tiger at the top of the food chain. What else can I be dissatisfied with? Ah! At this time, the little tiger cub beside him started howling again. Then, Cang Nian felt the big guy in front of him lie down, and the little tiger cub next to him slowly moved over, and soon a sucking sound was heard. Although babies cannot open their eyes when they are born, their eyelids are only thin enough to sense changes in light. The little tiger cub went to drink milk. The limited 5 senses allowed Cang Nian to reconstruct what had just happened, but due to human psychology, some people could not accept drinking tiger milk. But listening to the sound of the sucking, his physiological hunger made him eager to move. Forget it. If I don't drink milk, I will definitely starve to death. I've already been reborn as a tiger, why am I still being so pretentious? After hesitating for only a moment, Cang Nian threw away his human shame and crawled towards the source of the sucking sound with a staggering gait. But as soon as he started to climb, he felt extremely weak. Every step forward felt as if his whole body was filled with lead and was extremely difficult. But he had already died once, and out of cherishing the hard-earned opportunity to start over again, Cang Nian struggled extremely hard and forced his way to the tigress's side. By this time, he was already feeling breathless, as if there was fire burning in his lungs. Ding! Crawl 1M, Crawling Skill Proficiency +1. 1/100, at this moment, a voice without any emotion sounded in Cang Nian's mind. What the hell? What is that? Wait! Is it the system? This scared Cang Nian, and then he suddenly went from being surprised to happy. As expected, rebirth and system are standard. System. Quickly introduce what functions you have. Then, Cang Nian urged with ecstasy in his heart. However, the sound just now did not sound again. System? System? Say something. This made Cang Nian panic and he quickly shouted in his heart. As expected, there was still no response to the voice just now, as if it was just Cang Nian's illusion. Am I thinking about the system so much that I'm going crazy and having hallucinations? In this regard, Cang Nian could only mutter in frustration and unwillingness in his heart. But he could no longer bear the hunger in his stomach, so he could only put this question aside for the time being. He then lay on the tigress's soft belly and found the pacifier by relying on his instinctive sense of smell. Without any hesitation, he made up his mind, opened his mouth, took the pacifier and tried to suck it. Oh my! It smells so good! The tiger milk, which I thought would be very fishy, tasted incomparably sweet in his young mouth. He thinks that the tiger's sense of taste is different from that of humans, which is why he now feels that tiger milk is particularly sweet. Then, Cang Nian no longer felt any shame and began to suck hard. Before he knew it, he felt his abdomen swelling, his hunger relieved, and he felt full of strength. Ding! Drink 100 ml of milk, and your milk drinking skill proficiency will increase by 1/100. Just when Cang Nian was feeling extremely satisfied and even wanted to lazily stroke his swollen belly, a voice without any emotion sounded again. Not an illusion? There really is a system? But it just doesn't have any intelligence, and there's no human-computer interaction. At this time, Cang Nian no longer doubted, but began to analyze in his mind. But, crawling is a skill, but drinking milk can also be considered a skill. Then, the corners of his mouth twitched twice, and he was speechless. However, now is not the time to complain about the system. Feeling the strength all over his body after eating, Cang Nian began to crawl again tremblingly. This time, although it was equally strenuous, the crawling was slightly more stable than before. Ding! Crawl 1m, crawling skill proficiency plus 1. 2/100, hearing the system prompt sound that came as expected, Cang Nian couldn't help but smile. Chapter 2. So, my golden finger is this system panel. When I perform corresponding actions, it will be reflected in data, and the corresponding improvement will be fed back instantly. After some experiments, Cang Nian nodded his head, feeling that he had initially discovered the functions of the system panel. Although it looks like a useless thing like a recording board, it is not that simple if you think about it carefully. I just clearly felt that when I crawled 1 meter for the second time, although it was still very difficult, it was more stable. Therefore, as long as you complete the task of a stage, you can get the corresponding improvement. Doesn't that mean that as long as you continue to complete the task, you can steadily strengthen yourself? Now I have only crawled a total of 2 meters, and I have become much more stable while crawling. Then when I complete crawling 100 meters, will there be a qualitative change in the nodes on the system panel? Similarly, since crawling and drinking milk can be considered skills, what about waving claws? What about pouncing? There is a high probability that it can also be judged as a skill. In this way, as long as you continue to complete the skills you want to enhance, the corresponding skills will be steadily improved. If there is no upper limit, as long as you are hardworking enough, you will definitely grow quickly. Although tigers are at the top of the food chain, even adult Siberian tigers are not without rivals. Large creatures such as brown bears can be much larger than Siberian tigers. Although they lack flexibility, they are undoubtedly powerful enemies that can threaten tigers. In addition, they are still cubs now, and the tiger mother must go out hunting to supplement nutrition after giving birth, otherwise the two brothers will have no milk to drink. Although as an adult tiger, the tiger mom must be the overlord of the surrounding area, the smell she leaves behind will make most creatures instinctively avoid it. But what if? What if some bold enough guy comes to eat her while the tiger mom is out hunting? This is not groundless worry, but something that really needs to be considered. After all, if he remembered correctly, the survival rate of tiger cubs that could grow up successfully was about 30% to 50%. If it was a Siberian tiger, the survival rate was the lowest, at only 30%. Among these, many were eaten by other creatures while the tigress was hunting. Therefore, in order to survive, Cang Nian decided to make good use of the golden finger and become stronger as soon as possible, so as not to become one of the cold numbers outside the survival rate. Moreover, looking back now, the tiger cubs who were born earlier than me spent much less time crawling to my mother to feed than me. While feeding, Cang Nian also encountered a tiger cub nearby, and could clearly feel that the other's skeleton was much larger than his own. No wonder I'm so weak, it turns out all the nutrients were sucked away by the guy next door. Thinking of this, he couldn't help but feel a little scared. He crawled to the tiger mom to drink milk exhausted. If he was a little further away, he would not be able to get milk. He had seen a documentary before that said some particularly proud tigresses would let their cubs crawl to them to feed after giving birth, rather than holding the cubs on their bodies to feed. This is to check whether the cubs are healthy. If they are so weak that they cannot crawl any distance, the tigress will abandon such sickly cubs. Such cubs may die even with careful care, so it is better to throw them away before any feelings are developed to avoid wasting milk. The weak don't deserve to survive. It's cruel, but it's also engraved deep in the genes of tigers, the survival wisdom accumulated over countless tens of thousands of years of reproduction. Otherwise, a weak cub dragging the mother tiger may result in the cub, who is apparently very healthy, not being able to survive. In that case, I will work hard and use the golden finger to make myself stronger. Otherwise, when tiger mom sees me still so thin and weak and looking like I'm ready to kill her at any time, she might even think of abandoning me. Thinking of this, Cang Nian made up his mind. Although he had just finished feeding and his stomach was warm and he wanted to sleep, he forced himself to stay awake and continued crawling on the ground. Ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 3/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 4/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 5/100, I don't know how long it took, but Cang Nian felt exhausted, and the system panel showed that his crawling proficiency had accumulated to 5. At this time, he could clearly feel that his crawling was no longer so shaky. Although he was still moving slowly with his belly against the ground, it was still faster than at the beginning. However, after such a period of exercise, the energy recovered from feeding was exhausted. Although it is only a short distance of 4 meters, it is already a lot of exercise for the newborn tiger cubs. Fortunately, when he felt he was running out of strength, he crawled towards his mother. The tiger cub's natural strong sense of smell allowed him to do this easily without even opening his eyes. Without thinking, he grabbed a pacifier and started sucking hard. Having had the experience of drinking milk once, he no longer has any resistance and drinks milk with peace of mind. Seeing that Cang Nian, who was obviously smaller than the other cub, was drinking milk for the second time so soon, the tiger mother felt a little confused but also relieved. It seems that this skinny little fellow, who may have died young, has a strong survival instinct, and may be able to be raised. The tiger mom, who was giving birth for the first time, had already made up her mind that as long as the little guy did not lose his desire to live, she would try her best to feed it. At worst, I can just go hunting a few more times to store up enough milk. It is at the top of the food chain in this forest and is the undisputed queen. The young tiger mother has her own pride. There are only 2 tiger cubs in the first litter, and she will definitely be able to raise them all. Ding! Drink 100 ml of milk, drinking milk skill proficiency +1. 3/100, at this moment, a system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind, making him nod suddenly. He was wondering how to improve the skill of drinking milk. Now it seems that it is an increase in appetite. The first time I drank milk, I was almost starving, but I felt full after drinking 100 ml. The second time he drank milk, the system prompted him that he had drunk 100 ml, but he was not completely full yet and could still suck a few more times. How long has it been? It is definitely not a normal increase in appetite, but an improvement brought by the system. Thinking of this, he felt even more satisfied. The bigger your appetite, the more energy you can store and the faster you grow. It can really be considered a very useful skill. When he can eat meat in the future, he will be able to eat more, but Cang Nian is confident that by that time, all of his skills will have been improved to a level far superior to that of an ordinary tiger, and he will not worry about food. I will definitely grow into the greatest tiger king ever. Chapter 3. Ding! Digest 100 grams of food, digestion skill proficiency +1. 1/100, after finishing the second drink of milk, a new system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind. If digestion is also a skill, will I be able to digest food faster in the future? Not bad, not bad. Once this skill is strengthened, it can eat and digest food, and its growth rate will be amazing. The discovery of yet another new skill surprised Cang Nian so much that he nodded with satisfaction. But then, Cang Nian, who had just eaten and drunk his fill and was preparing to brush up on his crawl skill proficiency, felt an impulse coming from his lower body. He needs to poop. This is a normal physiological phenomenon and he would not feel embarrassed. However, when he crawled to the side and started to push, he found that he could not pull it out. This made him a little panicked. What's going on? Could it be that it didn't fully develop in Tiger Mom's belly, and its anus doesn't have a slit? Cang Nian thought with tears in his eyes. Ah! However, just as he was struggling, a childish cry came from not far away. It's the tiger cub that was born earlier than himself. Then, Cang Nian noticed from his eyes' perception of light and his hearing that the tiger mother, who had been lying on the side resting, had stood up and was walking towards the little tiger cub. Then, Cang Nian heard a licking sound, the tiger cub's comfortable humming, and a vague rustling sound. Wait, is this the mother tiger helping the cub to defecate? I remember that many animal cubs cannot defecate on their own within the first 1 or 2 months after birth and need help from their mothers. Such a movement made Cang Nian suddenly realize. This was the popular science knowledge he had seen while watching videos in his previous life. Now that he had examples, he recalled it immediately. Thinking of this, Cang Nian also started to cry out. Over there, the mother tiger, who had just helped a tiger cub to defecate, hurried to Cang Nian. Immediately, Cang Nian felt his body lighten and he felt extremely refreshed. Ding! Shit once, shit skill proficiency +1. 1/100, ding! P once, P skill proficiency +1. 1/100, at this moment, a system prompt sounded, causing Cang Nian to twitch his lips. Drinking milk is a skill, but are pooping and peeing also considered skills? What's the point of practicing these two skills? Pooping is like shooting an arrow, and farting is like thunder. Cang Nian couldn't help but complain in his heart. However, after a while, he felt that this might actually be of some use. After all, he couldn't even defecate on his own now, and without external intervention, this would last at least a month or 2. If this can be considered a skill, it means that it can be trained. As the number of times you defecate increases, you should be able to master the ability to defecate independently more quickly. Although it is natural for a tiger cub to let its mother lick its butt to assist in defecation, it is also good if it can save the mother some trouble and make itself less embarrassed. He shook his head and stopped worrying about this problem. After drinking milk, defecating and peeing, Cang Nian, who was already in the best condition, crawled again. The harder you work now, the stronger you will be in the future. With such a emperor liver system in hand, every bit of effort you put in will not be wasted, but will be faithfully transformed into your own strength. In terms of innate quality, he was much inferior to the other tiger cubs who were born with him and whom he didn't know whether they were brothers or sisters. Their body sizes were much smaller. In that case, the early bird catches the worm. Ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 6/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 7/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 8/100. After an unknown amount of time, Cang Nian heard several system prompts in his mind. And every time he achieved proficiency, Cang Nian felt that his crawling was a little more stable and his limbs seemed to be a little stronger. This made him even more excited. Exercise not only hones the body, but is also a test of the mind. When high-intensity exercise reaches the fatigue stage, every movement is torture. Therefore, if a person is not determined, at this stage, there will be a voice in his heart that persuades him to stop and take a rest. Cang Nian is now enduring such torment and test, his body is trembling, his breathing is rapid, and his muscles are sore. However, the feedback from the system prevented him from being defeated by such difficulties. Instead, he transformed the pain into a stimulant to stimulate his own spirit and struggled forward. Roar! But just as he was immersed in training himself, a low growl came from behind, which gave him a fright. Then, a warm breath came from the back of his neck, and immediately he felt a huge but gentle force relative to his own, firmly clamping the back of his neck. The next second, he felt powerless and instinctively curled up his limbs and tail. He seemed to lose consciousness and then his whole body was in the air. Call after a refreshing breeze blew past, Cang Nian regained consciousness and felt that he had landed safely. After moving a little, Cang Nian realized that there was a small body with short hair like his own beside him, and through his eyelids that could see a little light, he could see a huge figure lying down. I was climbing too hard just now and I climbed a little far, so Tiger Mom brought me back. Recalling the series of perceptions just now, Cang Nian suddenly thought of it. There was no way. He hadn't opened his eyes yet, and his basic way of perceiving the outside world was through hearing. Combined with the light passing through his unopened eyes, he could vaguely perceive something about the outside world. However, seeing that the proficiency of the crawling skill on the system panel had reached 10/100, he nodded with satisfaction. The first time he crawled after being born, he only crawled 2 meters before he ran out of energy. The second time it crawled 3 meters and had its second meal. Now, on the third crawl, he crawled a full 5 meters. There is no doubt that this obvious progress is the result of changes brought about by the system. At this rate, you can climb 10 meters on the first day, and within a week or even less, you can raise your crawling skill proficiency to 100. I just don't know what will happen after I reach full proficiency. Will I be able to walk directly? Cang Nian was looking forward to it with some longing. But after feeling his tired body and unusually sleepy state, Cang Nian decided not to continue exercising. He is still very weak and his physical strength is very limited. And now, he could feel that the light outside the cave was getting dimmer, and it was probably getting dark. The little tiger cub should still look like a little tiger cub. It's time to have a good sleep when it gets dark. Thinking of this, Cang Nian came to Tiger Mom, skillfully picked up the pacifier, and began sucking hard. Before going to bed, it's better to fill your stomach first. Chapter 4. Ding. Sleep for 12 hours, sleep skill proficiency plus 4. 4/100, when he woke up the next day, a system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind. Given the precedent that pooping and peeing were considered skills, he didn't feel surprised that sleeping was also considered a skill. Every 3 hours counts as one level of proficiency. The speed at which the skill proficiency increases during sleep should be similar to drinking milk or something. I just don't know what effect it will have when it's improved. Could it be that the quality of sleep is higher? Cang Nian did some calculations and then habitually thought about what the new skills could be used for. Gurgle. However, at this moment, a clear rumbling sound came from his abdomen, letting him know that he was hungry again. This is normal. Not to mention that I am a tiger cub and I am still growing. Even when I was a human in my previous life, I would sleep for 12 hours and wake up hungry. So, without thinking, he went up to Tiger Mom, picked up the pacifier and sucked hard. Ding! Drink 100 ml of milk, drinking milk skill proficiency plus 1. 4/100, because he drank milk once before going to bed last night, Cang Nian's proficiency in drinking milk has now reached 4/100. At this time, the brothers and sisters nearby seemed to be awakened by the sound of Cang Nian sucking his milk. They got up with a hum and came over to suck hard. After drinking a total of 400 ml, Cang Nian did not stop and continued to suck. After drinking milk several times, his maximum food intake is increasing. Although the increase is not obvious, it is more each time. Cumulatively, it has reached 400 ml now, and he drinks almost 50 ml before stopping. Then, after eating and drinking, Cang Nian continued to be self-disciplined. The morning sets the tone for the day. You must seize every minute and second of the early stages of your growth to make yourself stronger. Otherwise, given that my weak body was much smaller than my brothers and sisters when I was born, what would I do if the Tiger Mom felt that she could no longer support me and abandoned me? He is just a little tiger cub now. Without the protection of his tiger mother, he will surely die. Therefore, he needs to be self-disciplined. He needs to exercise. Only by becoming strong can you survive safely in the dangerous jungle. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt full of energy and continued to crawl with a grunt. After a night's rest, and with his climbing skill proficiency already at 10/100, he could now climb more powerfully and more steadily. At this time, the tiger cub next to it had also eaten its fill, but because it was only 1 day old, it was still too early for it to open its eyes, so it could not notice what Cang Nian was doing. Newborn tiger cubs don't think about the meaning of changes in the sounds, smells, and lights around them. Therefore, it just ate and drank its fill, then lay there and fell asleep. Tigers are animals that need a lot of sleep. Adult tigers sleep or nap for 14 to 16 hours a day, while tiger cubs need even more sleep, sleeping up to 20 hours a day. Woo! So, when Tiger Mom saw Cang Nian crawling around with a grunt after feeding, she became a little confused. Why is this kid so active? However, it is a good thing that the tiger cub can move. When Cang Nian was born yesterday, the tiger mother saw that his body was obviously much smaller than the first tiger cub, and she was worried that he would die. Now that it seems like it can eat and crawl, there shouldn't be any problem. As long as they don't crawl out of the cave, tiger mom won't interfere. Last night, because Cang Nian was too excited to climb and didn't pay attention to the direction, he had already climbed to the edge of the cave entrance, so tiger mom went to bring him back. Gurgle. At this moment, there was a gurgling sound coming from tiger mom's abdomen, which made Cang Nian couldn't help but look back. However, with his eyes still covered, he could only see a little red and white light shining through, and could not see the situation clearly. But the rumbling sound of tiger mom's stomach made him worried. Is the tiger mom hungry? That's right. Although tigers don't have as much difficulty giving birth as humans, they can't hunt for food in the first 3 days. She must have not eaten for 4 or 5 days now. If I remember correctly, wild tigers usually eat once a week, but their hunting success rate is only 30% to 50%. It is impossible for them to wait until they are hungry before trying to hunt. If tiger mom doesn't go hunting now, she will miss her best physical state. If she fails twice, she will completely lose the possibility of successful hunting. Cang Nian thought worriedly. There is no doubt that tiger mom needs to eat now. If they don't eat, the mother and her 2 children will starve to death together. But now, he was only 1 day old. Not to mention the ability to protect himself, he hadn't even opened his eyes. If any slightly larger predator invaded the tiger's den, he would surely die. In the wild, there are too many animals like this. Foxes, wolves, beavers, leopards, wild boars. These carnivores or omnivores can only whimper and flee in front of adult tigers, but they can easily kill tiger cubs like themselves. Moreover, these animals all had the same reasons for killing tiger cubs. Although tigers generally do not prey on carnivores, their existence itself is a plunder of resources in an area. Compared with other carnivores, tigers are larger and require more nutrition. If there are tigers in an area, other carnivores will obviously have less food to hunt. Therefore, it is the consensus of these carnivores to strangle tiger cubs in the cradle. Thinking of this, Cang Nian became scared. As long as the tiger mom leaves the tiger den to hunt, the 2 brothers will have no protection. Any medium-sized or larger carnivore that rushes in from outside will be a fatal blow to them. But he couldn't stop the tiger mom from hunting, otherwise she would become hungrier and weaker, and all 3 of them would die. What's more, how could he stop tiger mom from hunting now? Thousands of thoughts flashed through his mind, and through his blindfolded vision, Cang Nian saw that tiger mom's huge body had stood up. Sure enough, tiger mom is going hunting. But then, Cang Nian was stunned. Tiger mom did not walk out of the cave in the direction where the light came from. Listening to its barely perceptible footsteps, it was actually walking towards the inside of the cave. After walking a few steps, tiger mom stopped, and then Cang Nian heard the sound of water splashing. Hey! So it's for drinking water. Cang Nian breathed a sigh of relief, but not completely relaxed. Although the tiger mom is drinking water now, it does not mean that she will not go hunting. Hunger will accumulate over time, and the tiger mom will eventually go hunting. The only difference is whether she goes today or tomorrow. But then, Cang Nian felt something was wrong. Wow! There was a loud splash, followed by the sound of water flowing down, hitting the stone slabs of the cave. After a few seconds, a strong smell of blood came, and Cang Nian was completely dumbfounded. Chapter 5. Turtle, isn't this too smart? Could it be that tiger mom has become a spirit? With all this commotion, how could Cang Nian not know what had happened? Apparently, this tiger mother carefully selected the cave where she gave birth to her cubs. Not only was the temperature just right and the ventilation good, there was also a pool of water deep inside. And the tiger mom had just lifted up the body of a prey from the pond. That strong smell of blood comes from the corpse of the prey. Undoubtedly, this is the preparation that tiger mom makes before giving birth. It knew that it would not be able to hunt for some time, and even if it gave birth to the cubs and recovered its strength, it would not be able to rest assured with the young cubs. Therefore, before giving birth, the tiger mother not only captured prey to sustain her production period, but also went hunting again and stored the prey she could not finish eating in the pool in the cave. Based on the body temperature, Cang Nian can roughly judge that it should be May or June now. Although it is not yet very hot, fresh flesh and blood certainly cannot remain exposed to the air for a week without rotting. The tiger mom submerged the body of her prey in a pool of water. The cold water isolated the heat and air, greatly extending the preservation time of the prey. Even though this will cause the surface of the flesh to appear white and stiff, it is much better than letting it rot. Hey! With such a smart mother, my growth should be much smoother. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt relieved. At this stage, I am still very weak, and whether I can survive depends entirely on my tiger mom. But tiger mom is so smart, there is nothing to worry about. Knowing that it will be difficult to leave the cubs behind after giving birth, they hunt extra in advance and store the prey for emergencies. Such intelligence is really rare among animals. The tiger mom's actions directly extended the time it took to leave the cave for its first hunt after the birth of the two brothers by about a week. According to this calculation, my crawling skill will definitely be fully proficient by then, and it is possible that my eyes will be open. I can't say that I can protect myself, but at least I can detect danger earlier, and then call back the tiger mother who is hunting nearby by howling. Tiger mom cleverly made arrangements in advance, allowing Cang Nian to start planning again. Oh, right, my safety now depends on whether tiger mom can rescue me in time. In that case, I have to practice how to yell for help. Following this line of thought, an inspiration flashed through Cang Nian's mind. The more he thought about it, the more it made sense. As the proficiency of the crawling skill increases layer by layer, even if I max out the proficiency of this skill, I estimate that I can barely crawl without touching my belly to the ground. In this case, if any predator came to threaten the lives of the two brothers during the tiger mom's first hunt outside the cave, it would be a problem for them to resist or even escape. Therefore, being able to call for help from tiger mom is naturally the top priority. The louder and more penetrating the roar, the more likely it is that a tiger mother hunting nearby will hear it, and the greater the chance of being rescued. If your own meows are only as loud as a kitten's meow, then you might as well just wait to die. Ah! Thinking of this, Cang Nian opened his tender little mouth and let his soft throat make a sound. However, 2 seconds passed and no familiar system prompt sound came into his mind. Is the sound too quiet? Cang Nian thought suspiciously. Ah! Then, he used all his strength, opened his mouth as wide as possible, and tried to make the loudest sound possible. Ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency +1. 1/100, finally, when Cang Nian was almost out of breath, the system prompt sound finally came. Ahem! Baby voice? Although my roar right now doesn't have the majesty of the king of beasts, there's no need to use such an embarrassing name as baby voice, right? This fancy skill name almost made Cang Nian sprain his waist, and he couldn't help but complain in his heart. However, he now understands that compared to skills like crawling 1 meter, drinking 100 ml of milk, and sleeping for 3 hours, it is obviously easier to brush up on your proficiency with roaring. Therefore, the system should be designed to make it difficult for you to increase your proficiency in the skill of howling. Therefore, it is more difficult to achieve the conditions for howling in the system. Otherwise, if any random howling counts, he can reach the maximum proficiency of the howling skill in 2.5 minutes. Thinking back to yesterday, I screamed quite a few times, but none of them triggered the system prompts sound. It was obviously because the volume was not enough. But even if I have to use all my strength to meet the judgment conditions, the difficulty of mastering the howling skill is much lower than other skills. Cang Nian swallowed his saliva and prepared to rest for a while before roaring again. If he didn't rest, he felt that if he screamed at the top of his lungs, he might damage his throat, and that would be counterproductive. But at this moment, he suddenly felt a huge figure approaching in the light shining through his white eyelids. Cang Nian is no stranger to this. It's Tiger Mom. But the next second, Tiger Mom's huge head appeared. After a night of digestion, the nutrients in the milk drunk yesterday have been absorbed, and only impurities are left. With the help of Tiger Mom, they are excreted. Ding! Pull asterisk once, pull asterisk skill proficiency +1. 2/100, ding! Spread once, spread skill proficiency +1. 2/100, the system prompt sound came as expected, making Cang Nian very embarrassed. It seems that my yelling just now made Tiger Mom think that I needed help with an emergency, so she came to help. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt embarrassed and touched. He was an orphan in his previous life and had no relatives, so naturally he had never experienced what maternal love was. Although animals cannot speak, they can express their emotions more directly. This meticulous maternal love makes Cang Nian feel warm in his heart. When I grow up, and when the tiger mother is too old to hunt anymore, I will make sure that she always has prey to eat. Cang Nian thought with determination. For animals, prey is the best reward. Thinking of this, after solving the excretion problem, Cang Nian continued to be self-disciplined. Since Tiger Mom doesn't need to go out hunting for a while, she can focus on exercising. Set a small goal and raise the proficiency of crawling skills to 100 within 5 days. So Cang Nian stopped wasting time and started crawling forward grunting. Ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 11/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 12/100. Listening to the system prompts in his mind again and again, and his body becoming stronger little by little, Cang Nian crawled even harder. Chapter 6. Ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 99/100, ding! Crawl 1M, crawling skill proficiency +1. 100/100, ding! Congratulations to the host, the proficiency of the crawling skill has reached the maximum value, and this skill has evolved into crawling. Hoo! I finally maxed out my proficiency. Is this a qualitative change? Cang Nian was breathing heavily, but he felt a force rising from his body out of nowhere, making his weak limbs strong, and he felt extremely happy in his heart. Now is the 5th day since he was born. Without slacking off at any time, he has mastered the crawling skill to the maximum level in just 5 days. This is actually not difficult to achieve. After all, the system's improvement mechanism does not require one to reach the maximum proficiency level before it is enhanced all at once. Before that, every time a system prompt is met, there will be a small improvement. Therefore, on the first day, he could only crawl 10 meters, on the second day, he could crawl 15 meters, and on the third day, he could crawl 20 meters. In this way, today is the 5th day of birth, and I have finally mastered the crawling skill to the maximum. Sure enough, there will be a qualitative change. Although I am still just a cub, the strength of my limbs is now enough to support me without my belly touching the ground. I can truly crawl on all fours. After resting for a while, Cang Nian stood up again and crawled for the first time. Although it is still a little trembling, for the tiger cub at this stage, it can be considered a heroic feat. After all, it usually takes tiger cubs nearly a month to be able to crawl on all fours, but I could do it in less than a week. The tiger mom standing by looked at the active baby standing up and walking, a smile appeared on her proud and beautiful face. It couldn't remember how long it took for it to learn to walk when it was a baby, but the bigger baby next to it couldn't walk yet. Instead, the little one that was going to die at birth learned to walk first, which made the tiger mother very happy. Sure enough, the baby I give birth to will definitely not be bad. I must have learned to walk this early in my life. Thinking of this, the tiger mother couldn't help but use her big paws to pull the larger tiger baby next to her. Woo! The larger tiger cub was woken from his sleep, whimpered in confusion, twisted his butt, and curled up to sleep again. Looking at this lazy tiger baby, the tiger mother feels a little disappointed. If this cub could be as active as Cang Nian, he would definitely learn to walk early. It's not like she doesn't have milk to feed the two brothers. However, thinking of this, tiger mom couldn't help but glance at the puddle. The food I prepared was clearly enough for me to consume for half a month, but it only lasted 5 days. After I finished eating all the food, I felt a little hungry. It seems that the two tiger cubs are too greedy, so I have to go out hunting early. However, it was not too worried. It was the queen of the forest. Now that its body had recovered after giving birth, hunting was a piece of cake for it. It is ready to go out hunting when night falls tonight. Although tigers are not completely nocturnal animals, they have strong night vision. Based on Tiger Mom's past experience, she believes that the success rate of hunting at night will be higher. At this time, Cang Nian was extremely puzzled. How come I've walked several meters and there's no system notification sound? Is the system broken? Cang Nian thought doubtfully. Although he didn't have a ruler and didn't even open his eyes to accurately judge the distance, the intervals between the system prompt sounds allowed him to roughly sense how far he had climbed. After his crawling skill evolved to creeping, he felt that he had crawled about 7 or 8 meters, but why was there no system prompt sound? With suspicion, Cang Nian continued to crawl. After his crawling skill proficiency was maxed out and his limbs became stronger after a qualitative change. Originally, crawling a distance of 10 meters was about 1/3 of the daily exercise, which took about 2.5 hours. But now, it only takes about 10 minutes to cover a distance of 10 meters. The improvement is very obvious. Ding! Crawl 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 1/100, at this time, a system prompt sound finally came, which cheered up Cang Nian. I see. It's so easy for me to crawl 1 meter now. If the experience bar is still this long, I can max out this advanced skill in a matter of minutes. So now I need to crawl 10 meters to gain 1 level of proficiency, and to reach the maximum level, I need to crawl 1000 meters. For me now, it is not too easy, but it is not too difficult either. Cang Nian nodded his head and analyzed. Although the experience bar was longer, Cang Nian was not discouraged at all. The crawling skill has evolved to crawling, which means that his growth potential is far more than that. As long as you are hardworking enough, you can become stronger. What would make him unhappy is if he had nothing left after mastering his crawling skills to the maximum. Now, that's just what he wants. The qualitative change of maxing out my crawling skill proficiency has made my limbs stronger. I wonder what kind of qualitative change will occur if I max out my proficiency in other skills. Then, while continuing to crawl and improving his proficiency in the crawling skill, Cang Nian was imagining the evolution of other skills. The proficiency of his milk drinking skill has now reached 70/100. As his daily exercise volume increases, his appetite is also increasing rapidly. With 8 meals of milk a day, he is not far from maxing out his skill. However, Cang Nian felt that after mastering this skill to the maximum level, it would only lead to a significant increase in appetite, but would not allow him to eat meat. Digestion skills and proficiency are synchronized with milk drinking skills. After all, you have to digest as much as you eat. If this skill undergoes a qualitative change, it is estimated that the digestive ability will be greatly improved and the conversion into energy will be faster. As for pooping and peeing, the frequency is slightly less, only 50/100. After all, even if Cang Nian wants to poop 100 times a day, he has to have something in his stomach to poop. Cang Nian is most looking forward to the qualitative change of these two skills. He has a hunch that after the qualitative change of these two skills, he will be able to defecate on his own. In this way, he won't have to rely on Tiger Mom to help him defecate regularly. Although he has long been accustomed to it and has no sense of shame about it, it's good to let Tiger Mom be less busy. In addition, after crawling, the closest to qualitative change is baby voice, which has now reached 90/100. I should be able to reach full proficiency before dark today. I guess after this skill undergoes a qualitative change, my voice will become much louder. Thinking of this, Cang Nian opened his mouth wide, ready to continue practicing his baby voice. But at this moment, he suddenly felt his eyelids move, and a dazzling light passed through the gap between his eyelids. Upon noticing this change, Cang Nian was stunned at first, then he was overjoyed and tried his best to open his eyelids. Ah! Then he roared again with all his might. Hearing the noise coming from his side, Tiger Mom hurried over, lowered her head and was about to lick Cang Nian's butt. This active little cub poops frequently. But before Cang Nian could wait for Tiger Mom to lick his butt, he turned around to face Tiger Mom and raised his little head. Through the slits in his eyelids, he could vaguely see a hint of orange and white on Tiger Mom's body. Seeing this, Tiger Mom was stunned at first, and then she saw a hint of watery crystals between Cang Nian's eyelids. The cub is about to open his eyes. This thought immediately flashed through Tiger Mom's mind, and when she thought of Cang Nian's strange behavior, she lowered her big head, stuck out her big tongue, and gently licked Cang Nian's little face. Under the licking of Tiger Mom, the layer of half-dry and half-moist gelatin between Cang Nian's eyelids melted away, and Cang Nian suddenly felt his eyes brighten. Chapter 7. Finally opened your eyes. This was Cang Nian's first thought. As the gelatin between his eyelids was licked open, Cang Nian opened his wet, dark eyes. The next second, a sturdy and elegant tiger with black, orange, and white colors appeared in front of Cang Nian. Having been mentally prepared, Cang Nian was not afraid of the tiger that appeared before him. Instead, he felt a strong attachment to it and couldn't help but get close to it. This is of course a tiger mom. The tiger mother looked even more beautiful than Cang Nian had imagined. The color of her fur was extremely bright, showing that she was in good health. Its fur is relatively short and sticks to its body, highlighting the bulging muscles beneath the fur. Although it is not strong, it has clear lines and is very powerful. While Cang Nian was observing Tiger Mom's appearance, Tiger Mom was also looking at Cang Nian. And the more she watched, the more Tiger Mom liked it. Although the little tiger cub is very cute when it closes its eyes, eyes are the windows to the soul. After opening its eyes, looking at its wet and sparkling eyes, its mother tiger is very happy. This is its child. It looked like it was going to die when it was just born, but now it has been raised to be healthy. Thinking of this, the tiger mother couldn't help but turn her head to look at the other tiger cub who was still sleeping soundly beside her. Then, it came up to the tiger cub and, regardless of the fact that the cub was still sleeping, licked the cub's face with its big tongue. Woo woo. The tiger cub who was awakened by his mother's licking was whimpering in a daze, with no idea of the situation. However, when the mother tiger saw that the little tiger cub had been licking for a long time but still didn't open its eyes, she stopped harassing it. Sigh. He was obviously stronger when he was born, why hasn't he opened his eyes yet? The mother tiger lay on the ground sadly, looking at the little tiger cub. After opening his eyes, Cang Nian first looked around at his surroundings. However, he then discovered that there seemed to be something wrong with his eyesight. What's going on? Why am I nearsighted since birth? Cang Nian thought with great worry. Now, it seems that he can only see things about 3 meters in front of him. Any further away, it becomes very blurry. After thinking about it and getting no result, Cang Nian could only suppress his worries and look at the tiger mother not far away, and the tiger cub who was born the same generation as the tiger mother in front of her. No matter the time of birth or body shape, I should be the younger brother. But I was the first to open my eyes, so it's not up to you to decide who is the older brother. Looking at the little tiger cub who fell asleep again, Cang Nian thought with a sly smile. However, the other person's body was indeed much bigger than his. He looked at himself and realized that he was probably only half the size of the other person. This is the state I achieved after 5 days of training and evolving my crawling skills to the point where I can crawl. If it was 5 days ago, when the two brothers were just born, the size difference between them would have been even bigger. It must be because this guy was in tiger mom's belly and sucked all the nutrients out of me, that's why I'm so skinny. Cang Nian muttered to himself. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt even more urgency. Since I was born with deficiencies, I have to work harder. Now tiger brother hasn't opened his eyes yet, and has not exercised his awareness at all. This is a good opportunity for me to overtake. That's right. Cang Nian already treats the other party as his younger brother. Who made it have a lower IQ than mine and open its eyes later? After a while of envy, jealousy, and hatred, Cang Nian stood up again and crawled hard. If you want to become stronger, you have to work hard to improve your skill proficiency. As an older brother, I must be better than my younger brother. Ding! Crawl 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 5/100, as the sky gradually darkened, Cang Nian stopped what he was doing, panting. In less than half a day, except for eating, drinking, defecating and urinating, he used all his time to improve his crawling skill. During this period, when his throat had rested, he would still scream at the top of his lungs to improve his proficiency in his baby voice. In just a short while, the crawling proficiency has increased by 5 levels, and the baby voice proficiency has reached the 98th level. Soon there will be a qualitative change. However, now his physical strength has been almost exhausted, his voice is a little hoarse, and it is already dark, so it is time to go to bed. Thinking of this, Cang Nian came to Tiger Mom and skillfully took up the pacifier and sucked it. Tiger Brother, who was standing next to him, had a strong ability to imitate. When he heard Cang Nian's smacking sound, he also stood up and came over to drink milk. Ding! Drink 100 ml of milk, drinking milk skill proficiency +1. 82/100, when Cang Nian's belly was full, a system prompt sounded in his mind. Now, his appetite has increased significantly compared to when he was just born. He can drink more than 200 ml of milk at a time, so the proficiency of this skill can be improved a lot faster. But looking at his younger brother who's standing beside him, Cang Nian felt somewhat frustrated. This guy is big and eats more than me. I hope that after my milk drinking skills improve, I can eat more than Tiger Brother, otherwise my body size will always lag behind. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian thought expectantly. Ding! Open your eyes for 3 hours, and your eye-opening skill proficiency will increase by 1. 1/100, at this moment, another system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind. So that's how it is. The tiger cub's vision is not perfect when it just opens its eyes, but it gets better and better over time, with 1 level of proficiency every 3 hours, which is about the same speed of improvement as the sleeping skill. Hearing this, Cang Nian analyzed thoughtfully. He felt that his eyesight had improved a little, and he could see objects clearly from a distance of about 4 meters. Objects farther away gradually became blurred. At this time, the tiger brother, who had a bigger appetite, finally stopped sucking, curled up comfortably, and prepared to fall asleep again. In fact, the sleeping time of tiger brother is just what a tiger cub should have if it is born not long ago. Generally, tiger cubs at this stage can sleep for nearly 20 hours a day. Cang Nian is an outlier, as he spends half of the day sleeping and half active. Wow! Just as Cang Nian was thinking, tiger mom beside him suddenly stood up. Then, it leaned over and lowered its head to help its little brother defecate. Then, he came behind Cang Nian and made the same move. Ding! Shit once, shit skill proficiency +1. 56/100, ding. P once, P skill proficiency +1. 56/100, then, 2 system prompts sounded in Cang Nian's mind. No. I didn't scream, and tiger brother didn't scream either. Why would tiger mom take the initiative to help us defecate? It seemed like an ordinary action, but the abnormal timing made Cang Nian frown, and he realized that things were not simple. Roar! Cang Nian saw tiger mom walk around in front of him and growl softly, as if she was telling him something. Then, tiger mom raised her head and stood up, emitting a fierce aura, and looked outside the cave. Seeing this, Cang Nian immediately understood. Tiger mom is going out hunting. Chapter 8. Ah! Watching the tiger mom walking out of the cave step by step, Cang Nian subconsciously chased after her 2 steps and let out a roar. Hearing the sound, tiger mom turned around, the fierceness in her eyes subsided, she looked at him gently for a few seconds, then ran away without looking back. Seeing this, Cang Nian had no choice but to stop. His appetite is increasing as his milk drinking skills improve, and the amount of exercise he does every day, which far exceeds that of an average tiger cub, makes him consume more energy, causing him to drink more milk every day. As for tiger brother, he is surprisingly large, can eat and sleep, and probably eats twice as much as me. So, although there were only 2 tiger cubs, they were both big eaters and their consumption was extremely terrifying. Even if the tiger mother prepared a prey in advance in case of emergency, the stored energy of the 2 brothers had been almost consumed 5 days after they were born. Thinking of this, Cang Nian recalled that when he drank milk for the last time, tiger mom's belly was already quite shriveled, and when he was full, he could no longer suck out any milk. Obviously, in order to ensure the healthy growth of the 2 brothers, tiger mom must go out hunting tonight. Then I can't sleep tonight, at least not until tiger mom comes back. Otherwise, if there is any danger, I will definitely die in my sleep. Faced with such an emergency, Cang Nian could only make temporary plans. And he didn't dare to refresh his proficiency in any skill anymore. When tiger mom is not around, the energy he has just gained from drinking milk is all he needs to protect himself. Thinking of this, Cang Nian moved closer to tiger brother and leaned against him. Although it should be May or June now, the tiger mom should be a Siberian tiger. The latitude she lives in is relatively high, so the temperature difference between day and night is relatively large, and it is still a bit cold at night. Therefore, by leaning on brother tiger, they can keep each other warm. Woo! Realizing that Cang Nian was approaching, Hu De hummed twice and fell into a deep sleep again. It's comfortable not knowing anything, and I don't have to worry about anything. Looking at tiger brother, who had no idea how dangerous it would be when tiger mom left, Cang Nian's mouth twitched. Then, he looked quietly outside the cave and began to think about random things. After a whole day of self-discipline, Cang Nian's body was already quite tired, but now he couldn't use up his energy, nor could he close his eyes to sleep. This was not an easy thing to do. If he was just daydreaming, Cang Nian was sure that he would fall asleep without realizing it. However, any slight movement outside the cave would suddenly wake up Cang Nian, whose eyelids were becoming increasingly heavy. Ding! Open your eyes for 3 hours, and your eye-opening skill proficiency will increase by 1. 2/100, before I knew it, 3 hours had passed and my proficiency in the eye-opening skill had increased by 1 level. I don't know how long it will take tiger mom to hunt. What prey will she catch? I hope she can catch bigger prey so that she can delay her next hunt. By then, I will have maxed out my crawling skill proficiency and achieved a qualitative change. I should be able to run, and my self-protection ability should be much stronger. Cang Nian was thinking about all sorts of things in his mind, struggling against physical fatigue. However, now that his eye-opening skill proficiency has increased, his eyesight has improved a little. The clear visual distance has reached 5 meters, and he can see the situation at the cave entrance clearly. In addition, you can basically see clearly deep into the cave. There was no difference with what he had guessed before he opened his eyes. There was a small pool of water deep in the cave. The area of the pool was not large, only a few square meters. But it is more than enough for the tiger mother to drink daily and store the excess prey in the water. Ding! Open your eyes for 3 hours, and your eye-opening skill proficiency will increase by 1/3/100. After thinking about it for a while, the system prompt sounded again, and Cang Nian couldn't help but frowned. Tiger Mom had been out hunting for 6 hours. Although he didn't know how long it took a tiger to hunt once, Cang Nian felt that 6 hours should be enough to complete the hunt, right? Is Tiger Mom in trouble? Cang Nian could not help but worry. However, thinking that the Siberian tiger is the absolute dominant species in its ecological environment and there is almost no animal that can threaten them, Cang Nian felt a lot more at ease. If there is danger, Tiger Mom will definitely run away. Moreover, even if she really encounters danger, the Tiger Mom only needs to roar, and the tiger roar will shake the mountains and forests, and at least all creatures within a 3-kilometer radius can hear it. In order to protect herself and her cubs, the mother tiger would not go too far when hunting. Since there is no tiger roar, there should be no danger. Cang Nian could only think to comfort himself. Only then did he realize how torturous his own weakness was. Once the Tiger Mom who protected him was gone, he would be in constant fear. This made him determined to work harder, be more self-disciplined, and become stronger as soon as possible. The next time Tiger Mom goes out hunting, I will never feel so powerless. Oh! At this time, Cang Nian heard a sound coming from outside the cave through the bushes. Then, an orange figure came closer from afar. Because Cang Nian's vision is now only clear within a range of 5 meters, the farther away it is, the blurrier it becomes. He cannot see clearly what the figure coming from the distance is. However, the iconic orange color made him feel relieved. It should be the return of Tiger Mom. So he stood up and took 2 steps out of the cave impatiently. But after taking just 2 steps, he realized something was wrong. The orange-yellow figure was getting closer and closer, but when it got closer, Cang Nian found that it was not as big as he remembered. Then, he saw the orange figure jogging towards him, until the other party came within the 5-meter range of his vision, and he was immediately shocked. FK. It's not Tiger Mom. It's Fox. Cang Nian couldn't help but curse in his mind, his legs almost went weak, and he quickly stepped back. The orange-yellow figure went from blurry to clear. It was a fox with messy fur, rushing towards him with green eyes. Its orange-yellow hair with black and white color made Cang Nian mistake it for Tiger Mom. Ah! While retreating, Cang Nian screamed loudly. Now he can only crawl slowly with trembling limbs. He can't run yet, and he definitely can't outrun an adult fox. The only hope of survival now is to bet that Tiger Mom is nearby and that his shouting can call her back. A tender voice sounded, and Cang Nian shouted with all his might, but it was still too young and it was unlikely to be heard far away. But he didn't give up and continued to roar loudly. Ah! Ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency plus 1. 99/100, ding! Baby voice once, baby voice skill proficiency plus 1. 100/100, ding! Congratulations to the host, the skill proficiency of the baby voice has reached the maximum value, and this skill has evolved into Baby AO. Then, Cang Nian's howl seemed to break through a thick barrier covering his throat, and suddenly became penetrating and extremely loud. Chapter 9. Knowing that the fox was behind him, Cang Nian shouted loudly, trying to call the tiger mother back, while trying his best to escape. However, he has just learned to crawl and can't walk very steadily, let alone run. Therefore, after running a few trembling steps, Cang Nian fell to the ground with a thud. No! I have to keep some distance from this guy, otherwise I'll definitely be dead. Cang Nian did not stop after falling. His instinct for survival made him crawl on his belly even after falling, crawling towards the depths of the cave. Ouch! But at this moment, Cang Nian, who was only concerned with escaping, heard a shrill and childish cry from behind him. Turning around, he saw that under the force of adrenaline, he had already crawled to the edge of the pool deep in the cave, while his younger brother Tiger, who was in the center of the cave and had not yet opened his eyes, noticed nothing. He ran away to the water pond, but exposed his brother tiger to the fox. Moreover, perhaps because the tiger brother was bigger and looked fatter, the fox, whose eyes had turned green due to hunger, now shifted its target to the tiger brother. It opened its short snout and started biting the tiger brother. How could the tiger boy, whose eyes were not yet opened, resist against the mouth of an adult fox? He could only howl in fear. Watching this scene, Cang Nian felt cold all over, and even his howling stopped abruptly. If this continues, brother tiger will die. Cang Nian subconsciously raised his claws and took a step forward, but his claws were suspended in mid-air. I don't have any means of attack right now. I don't even have teeth. Whether I pounce or bite, it's just a tickle to the fox in front of me. Even if he went forward, he would not be able to help brother who escaped from danger, but would put himself in danger instead. Wait a little longer, wait a little longer. Tiger mom will come back. I just need to wait here, I still have a chance to survive. The fear of death made Cang Nian stand there in a daze, not daring to move, and could only watch his younger brother tiger being torn apart by the fox. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't have the strength. I can't save you. I'm sorry. Cang Nian watched this scene in agony, muttering guiltily in his heart. Ouch. But at this moment, not far outside the cave, a soul-stirring tiger roar sounded, which lifted Cang Nian's spirits. It's Tiger Mom. Upon hearing the tiger's roar, the fox that was still biting its tiger brother was suddenly startled. Its eyes, which had turned green from hunger, suddenly became clear, and fear crept into its pupils. Without thinking, it quickly loosened its sharp teeth that were biting its tiger brother and ran out of the cave. The queen of the jungle is back. If you don't run now, you'll die. Ouch. But the next second, a huge figure rushed into Cang Nian's field of vision. It was also black, white, and orange, but it was far more majestic and domineering than the fox. It's Tiger Mom. At this moment, Tiger Mom's eyes were filled with anger. The gentleness she showed towards Cang Nian and tiger brother was gone at all, only surging tyranny. Bang! The tiger mom swung her claws heavily, accurately slapping the escaping fox down from mid-air. Woo! The fox suddenly let out a miserable whimper, and then slammed hard against the wall of the cave. Cang Nian could see that the bright red blood splattered radially on the wall of the cave, like a ripe grape hitting the wall at a rapid speed. Then, the fox's miserable whimpering stopped abruptly, and its body slowly slid down, leaving a trail of blood. The tiger mom's terrifying strength killed the fox with just one palm. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian's previous fear, guilt, and current joy of surviving the disaster, all kinds of emotions came flooding back. All these emotions made him, who had already stayed up for more than 6 hours and was extremely exhausted, feel blackouts and pass out. Well, I am alive now. I don't know how long it took, but when the sun was shining brightly outside the cave, Cang Nian slowly woke up. Then, he tilted his head to look at the cave wall beside him. The dark red bloodstains on it indicated that yesterday's crisis was not a nightmare, but reality. Thinking of this, he looked around quickly and saw the slender and agile tiger mother lying in the cave licking her fur gracefully, and then he felt safe. Yesterday's experience made him even more dependent on Tiger Mom. Without a Tiger Mom, he would be powerless to resist any crisis and could do nothing but howl in fear. Even, I could only watch my tiger brother being torn apart by the fox. Wait. Where's brother tiger? Could it be that? Thinking of this, Cang Nian stood up and stretched his neck to look for tiger brother. But after looking around, he didn't see brother Hu, and his heart sank. Even though tiger's brother died in the fox's mouth, the result would not have changed even if he went forward to help. But in the end, it was because he ran deep into the cave that tiger brother was exposed to the fox. If I had grown up normally, I would be like my younger brother tiger now, unable to open my eyes and unable to crawl fast. I would be the one to die, right? Brother tiger died for himself. Cang Nian felt more and more guilty. Woo! But at this moment, a baby voice came from Tiger Mom's arms. Hearing the sound, Cang Nian became spirited and quickly crawled towards Tiger Mom. Because he was too excited, Cang Nian fell down, but he didn't care. He quickly got up and crawled towards Tiger Mom again. Finally, when he came in front of Tiger Mom skillfully changed from lying on his stomach to lying on his side, making it easier for Cang Nian to drink milk. This change in movement just happened to reveal the tiger brother under the tiger mother's arms. Woo woo. Then, Cang Nian saw the little tiger boy humming and crawling into the tiger mother's belly to drink milk. Brother Tiger is not dead. Such a dramatic scene surprised Cang Nian so much that he quickly came to Huti's side. Cang Nian scratched Tiger Brother's neck with his claws and searched around carefully. Finally, he found 2 rows of symmetrical holes on the left and right sides of Tiger Brother's throat. If you didn't look for them specifically, you wouldn't be able to see them. That fox didn't bite Tiger Brother to death? That shouldn't be the case. Such a result surprised Cang Nian. The adult fox bit the tiger cub, which was less than a week old, with all its might. It couldn't kill it instantly, but at least it wouldn't be difficult to kill it. But in the end, not only did Tiger Brother not die, he didn't seem to have any serious injuries. Am I not the only one who is special? Is my Tiger Brother also an extraordinary tiger cub? Cang Nian thought suspiciously. When this thought came to his mind, he realized that Brother Tiger was indeed abnormal. It's too big. The 5-day-old tiger cub is twice as big as me, who has a system and is extremely self-disciplined. It is almost as big as a tiger cub that is over 1 month old. Who cares? As long as Brother Tiger is not dead. Shaking his head, Cang Nian thought thankfully. If Brother Hu really died, this would probably become a lifelong nightmare for him and he would live in guilt forever. Feeling Cang Nian rubbing at him, Tiger Brother twisted his butt and moved to the other side, as if to give Cang Nian a place to drink milk. Looking at the adorable Tiger Brother, Cang Nian raised the corner of his mouth slightly. I backed down this time because I was weak and timid. Next time, I will work harder to hone myself. Next time, I will definitely be able to protect Brother Tiger. Chapter 10. Who? On the 8th day after his birth, which was also the 3rd day after being attacked by the fox, Cang Nian was crawling breathlessly. However, although it was very tiring, the rewards were gratifying. Ding! Crawl 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 50/100, however, in just 3 days, he had already reached half the proficiency of the crawling skill. This was all due to what happened 3 days ago, which made him feel more urgent to become stronger. Therefore, these days, he has been working hard to improve his most obvious crawling skills. As his crawling skills became more and more proficient, his limbs gradually became stronger. Now he crawls very steadily without trembling. In addition, several other unlocked skills are also growing steadily. For example, the skill of drinking milk had accumulated enough proficiency yesterday and had undergone a qualitative change, but the skill name had not changed, it was just that the volume of milk required for each level of proficiency had increased from 100 ml to 500 ml. However, this is not a big problem, because after the qualitative change of his milk drinking skill, Cang Nian's appetite has indeed increased significantly, and now he can drink nearly 400 ml of milk at a time. In this way, when his proficiency in drinking milk reaches about level 50, he will be able to drink 500 ml of milk at a time, and the improvement in proficiency will not be much slower than before. The digestion skill improved simultaneously with the milk drinking skill and underwent a qualitative change. The change in this skill was not as intuitive as the qualitative change of the milk drinking skill, but Cang Nian could clearly feel that he was getting hungrier faster. I used to drink milk 8 times a day, but now I drink it 12 times a day. It seems that the digestion and conversion of energy in food have become more efficient. Drinking the same volume of milk can now support a greater amount of exercise. What makes Cang Nian happy is that the improvement of drinking milk and digestion skills has boosted the efficiency of refreshing the proficiency of shitting and peeing skills. After all, the more you eat, the more you poop. Now Cang Nian's proficiency in both shitting and peeing has reached level 80 simultaneously. It won't take long for a qualitative change to occur. In addition, Cang Nian has also not lost the skill of evolving his baby voice into a baby roar. As long as his throat is well rested, he will roar with all his strength. Therefore, the proficiency of the skill Nuao has now reached level 30. The sleep skill, which has little presence, cannot be accelerated by hard work. 1 level is accumulated for every 3 hours of sleep, and now there are only 32 levels. The same goes for the eye-opening skill, which accumulates 1 level for every 3 hours the eyes are open. As it is unlocked relatively late, there are only 12 levels now. However, the improvement in his eye-opening skill is quite obvious. Now Cang Nian can see clearly within a range of 15 meters. While exercising and summarizing today's gains, Cang Nian walked towards Tiger Mom. This is how he spends the past few days. When he gets tired from exercising, he drinks milk. When he's full, he exercises again. When he feels like it, he lets out a cry and asks Tiger Mom to help him excrete. It's a bit boring, but also fulfilling. Hey! Just then, he suddenly saw a flash of bright black. Then, he followed the reflection and saw Tiger Brother. After observing carefully for a while, Cang Nian finally knew the source of the reflection. It's the gap between Tiger Brother's eyes. Tiger Brother's eyes, which were originally closed, opened into two tiny slits, and his watery eyes could be seen between the slits. Ah! Seeing this, Cang Nian yelled at Tiger Mom. Ding! Neo once, Neo skill proficiency +1. 31/100. In order to improve his skill proficiency, Cang Nian tried his best every time he roared, which not only diverted the attention of the Tiger Mother, but also woke up the sleeping Tiger Brother. Tiger Brother, who was woken up, groaned twice and twisted his butt. When Tiger Mom heard Cang Nian's roar, she came over and wanted to lick Cang Nian's butt. However, Cang Nian was prepared. He twisted his butt to avoid the Tiger Mother, and then patted the Tiger Brother's face with his paw. During this period, Cang Nian finally confirmed that there was indeed something wrong with his brother who. Even though I had advanced my milk drinking and digestion skills once, I was no match for Tiger Brother. It ate too much. Before he opened his eyes, Cang Nian could only vaguely feel that Hu Di was eatable, but after opening his eyes, he discovered that Hu Di was a real glutton. It has been less than 10 days since the birth of Tiger. Cang Nian estimated that Tiger Brother would weigh about 5 or 6 kilograms. However, he eats so hard and consumes energy every day, so he probably weighs only about 3 kilograms now. This is almost as old as an average 1-month-old tiger cub, but it is still not as good as its younger brother. At this time, Tiger Mom followed Cang Nian's movements and looked at Tiger Brother, and finally discovered that Tiger Brother was about to open his eyes. Seeing this, Tiger Mom happily came up to Tiger Brother, bent over, and gently licked Tiger Brother's chubby little face with her big tongue. In Cang Nian's eyes, Tiger Brother's face is indeed big, but in Tiger Mom's eyes, Tiger Brother's face is extremely small. As his face was licked by his mother, the little tiger hummed comfortably. After a while, the glue between Tiger Brother's eyes was licked open, revealing wet and dazed eyes, as if he had not woken up yet. However, it did not wake up. The sudden appearance of unfamiliar perception caused the Tiger Brother's brain to crash for several seconds. Then he looked at the Tiger Mother's whiskers, curiously wanting to capture them with his claws. But it has been difficult to move since birth. As soon as it raised its front paws, its half-squatting hind body could not stabilize, so it fell to the ground with its legs spread out. Looking at the cute little tiger cub, Mother Tiger showed a humane smile on her face and licked the hair on his belly lovingly. When she went out hunting 3 days ago, a fox took the opportunity to attack her nest and almost caused her little tiger brother to get into trouble. This left the proud Tiger Mom with lingering fears. Fortunately, the cub was lucky and not in danger of life, otherwise, it would have been very sad. This also made it determined that the next time it hunts, it must make quick decisions. In addition, in order to reduce the time spent outside, it should drag the prey back to the nest to eat after a successful hunt, rather than waiting outside to eat and then coming back. 3 days ago, it had been lying in ambush for a long time. After successfully hunting, it ate a lot on the spot. When it returned to the nest, it heard Cang Nian's terrified cry for help. However, it was that hearty meal at that time that provided it with sufficient nutrition to sustain the horrific consumption of Cang Nian and Hu Di. With the help of the system, Cang Nian's growth rate has exceeded that of an ordinary tiger cub. And brother tiger can eat and sleep well. With the two brothers together, it feels like the Tiger Mom is raising 8 little tiger cubs at the same time. Although this is the Tiger Mother's first litter, she has no experience in raising multiple cubs. Thinking of this, the smile on Tiger Mom's face turned into sadness. It had only been 3 days since it last hunted and ate, and it felt that the nutrients in its body could only feed the two brothers for 2 more days. Children cannot eat it because they are afraid that they will be hungry and not grow. My child eats too much, and I have to worry about not having enough food at home. Sad. Chapter 11. Brother Who opened his eyes, which was a happy event of some magnitude, but it did not affect Cang Nian's continued self-discipline and training. Ding! Crawl 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 51/100, every time he accumulated a level of skill proficiency and his body became stronger, Cang Nian felt that his efforts were not in vain. Woo! As for the little tiger who opened his eyes, perhaps the new way of perception made him feel novel and interesting, so he did not sleep soundly as usual, but turned his little head around following Cang Nian. However, it showed no intention of getting up. It has always been lazy and just thinks it's fun to see Cang Nian crawling around, but if it were me, it would definitely be very tiring. It doesn't want to be tired, it just wants to eat and sleep. At this moment, hearing the meaningless humming from the tiger brother's mouth and seeing it looking at him with interest, Cang Nian became thoughtful. Tiger brother can grow so fast, he must be special, otherwise he wouldn't be able to survive the fox's bite. It was fine before that I just ate and slept every day, but now that I have opened my eyes, I can't be so lazy anymore. I have to take it with me to exercise, otherwise it will suffer again the next time it encounters danger. This time it was because the fox's bite force was not strong enough and the fox was not in good condition that it was able to save its life. If it was a more ferocious beast, it would be very dangerous. I can't just train on my own. For a long time, my strength won't be enough to go head-on with those adult beasts. So the main way to deal with danger is to run away. If I run fast, Tiger Brother will be in trouble. I have to let Tiger Brother run fast too, so that I can buy time until Tiger Mom rescues me. Cang Nian thought about it in his mind, and the more he thought about it, the more he felt it was right. Although he was determined to protect his brother Tiger, at least before he grew into the size of a medium to large dog, there would be many animals in the wild that he would not be able to deal with. Therefore, before this, the only way for him and his brother Tiger to deal with crises was to run away and call for help. Therefore, only by letting Tiger Brother run can we avoid repeating the same mistakes. Thinking of this, Cang Nian walked step by step to Hu Di. Ah! Cang Nian subconsciously let out a roar, trying to urge Tiger Brother to move. But the result was very reasonable. Hu Di couldn't understand what Cang Nian was howling, and Cang Nian didn't know what he was howling to express. Seeing this, Cang Nian tilted his head and thought for a while, then came behind Hu Di. He squatted slightly, stretched out his front paws, and pushed Tiger Brother's butt. Since words don't make sense, let's use body language. However, Tiger Brother's weight was really outrageous. He was only 8 days old, but his weight was estimated to be 6 kilograms. For a middle-aged man like him, he was too heavy to be pushed at all. Fortunately, Hu Di did not feel uncomfortable being pushed by Cang Nian. He moved forward 2 steps with his trembling limbs supporting his fat body. Seeing that this was effective, Cang Nian pushed forward again, and Hu Di cooperated by moving 2 more steps forward. However, after 2.5 minutes, Cang Nian was exhausted and Hu Di had only moved about 1 meter. This guy has a very good temper. No matter how you treat him, he won't get angry. He is just incredibly lazy. He will never move a step unless you push him. But Cang Nian was not the type to give up halfway, so he changed his strategy, walked in front of Hu Di, and took slow steps forward. He wanted to set an example for his little tiger so that it would know how to walk. At the very least, crawl on your belly for a few times, right? However, Tiger Brother just kept his eyes open like copper bells and followed Cang Nian all the time, but he never lifted his butt. This made Cang Nian very angry. He wished he could speak human language now and that Tiger Brother could understand human language so that he could scold it. After taking 2 deep breaths, Cang Nian became angrier and angrier, so he simply raised his paw and blew it at Tiger Brother's face. Since you don't want to move, I'll make you angry and then follow me. Bang! Because he was still young, Cang Nian's claw did not have much power, but because he swung it with all his strength, it was undoubtedly a head-on blow to the Tiger Brother who was also born just 8 days ago. What's more, it was received with the face. Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swiping your claw increases by +1. 1/100, however, at this moment a system prompt sounded, which made Cang Nian stunned at first, and then suddenly ecstatic. Great! I finally unlocked an attack skill. Since he traveled through time and obtained the system, the skills he has unlocked so far are all weird. Apart from the skill of crawling, the rest are either drinking milk or pooping and peeing, each one more useless than the other. At least, it's useless at this stage. And this swinging claw is obviously an attack skill. The important thing is that the conditions for accumulating proficiency in this skill are relatively easy to achieve. It seems that you only need to swing your claws with all your strength to accumulate 1 level of proficiency. Then I should be able to fill up the progress bar of this initial skill soon. Although the power of the skill is definitely based on one's own physical fitness, Cang Nian believes that if he continues to hone this skill and improve his proficiency, it will definitely not be underestimated in the future. Moreover, this also means that when he was young, he would have a certain ability to fight back instead of just being able to run away. Of course, Cang Nian would not become too arrogant just because he has an attack skill and rush forward when encountering danger. I am still very weak now, so if I encounter danger, I should run away first. If you really can't escape, try to attack the other party to buy time and let Tiger Mom come for help. Ah! But just when Cang Nian was happy, Tiger Brother beside him started howling sadly. It felt very aggrieved. Why did Cang Nian hit it even though it was so cooperative when Cang Nian was playing with it? At this time, the Tiger Mother, who was lying on the ground to rest, heard the noise and came over and got behind the Tiger Brother. The Tiger Mom thought that the Tiger Brother was going to defecate. However, the little tiger turned his butt away, then looked at the Tiger Mother, whimpering and waving his claws, as if accusing Cang Nian of bullying him. Seeing this, Cang Nian suddenly felt guilty. Although his intention was good, he wanted his younger brother Tiger to exercise as well, so that he wouldn't be unable to escape the next time he encountered a crisis. But his current actions were indeed bullying brother Tiger. Thinking of this, Cang Nian shrank his neck, afraid that Tiger Mom would seek justice and teach him a lesson. However, after listening to the Tiger Brothers crying, the Tiger Mother didn't care at all. After making sure that the two little ones were not hungry or needed to defecate, she gracefully wagged her tail and went to the pool deep in the cave to drink water. After the crisis the two little ones encountered during their first hunt, Mother Tiger paid more attention to them and kept an eye on whatever the two little ones were doing. But to Tiger Mom, everything that just happened was just a fight between brothers. This is a very normal thing, and Tiger Mom is happy to see it. It not only deepens the relationship between the two brothers, but also allows them to hone their hunting skills unconsciously. Seeing this, Tiger Brother's crying stopped abruptly and he was stunned. After a little thought, Cang Nian understood the Tiger Mom's free-range strategy of raising her children, so he came to the Tiger Brother with a smile on his face. Hehe, since Tiger Mom doesn't care, then you can let me train Tiger Brother as I please? Oh! Looking at Cang Nian's evil smile, Tiger Brother howled in fear. Chapter 12. Ding! Crawl 10m, Crawling Skill Proficiency +1. 60/100, ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by +1. 15/100, listening to the system prompts in his mind and the aggrieved groans of Tiger Brother beside him, Cang Nian was in an extremely happy mood. Yesterday, on the 9th day after its birth, Tiger Brother opened his eyes, and Cang Nian started training with him. While the effects of other methods were minimal, hitting a tiger with a claw was still very effective. Hu Di was of a weak character. Even after being beaten, he did not dare to chase Cang Nian or fight back. But fortunately, this beating made it understand that it must do as Cang Nian asked, otherwise it would be beaten again. Therefore, the claws and Cang Nian's tireless body movements finally made Tiger Brother understand that if he crawled behind Cang Nian's butt, he would not be beaten, otherwise he would be beaten. Therefore, Tiger Brother could only follow behind Cang Nian with a wronged look on his face, crawling along with a grunt. What surprised Cang Nian was that Tiger Brother ate a lot and grew fast, and it was indeed not in vain. He had never exercised before, so it was difficult for Tiger Brother to crawl 2 steps. But after all, he had a terrible physique. Forced to exercise by Cang Nian's constant slapping and tickling, he soon brought his physical fitness into play. In just half a day, Cang Nian crawled on all fours in front, and Hu Di crawled on his belly behind. Cang Nian walked almost 100 meters, and although Hu Di did not keep up with him the whole way, he probably got half the exercise and crawled 50 meters. This is much stronger than Cang Nian's crawling skill before it evolved into crawling. I can only say that he has a weird talent and is incomparable. However, the old man who had the system was only slightly envious. I have congenital deficiencies, but as long as I am self-disciplined enough and become stronger little by little, my future ceiling will definitely be higher than that of my younger brother Tiger. The Tiger Mother who was resting in the cave was smiling broadly as she watched the interaction between the two cubs. This was its first litter. When Cang Nian and Hu Di were born, it felt very boring, especially since she was the queen of the jungle, but now she could only stay in the cave and stare blankly in order to feed her cubs. However, now that both little ones have opened their eyes, things are much more interesting. The interaction between the two brothers can relieve the boredom of the Tiger Mom. What's more, what puzzled Tiger Mom was that Tiger Brother was obviously bigger in size, so why was he suppressed by Cang Nian, who was so much smaller? Among brothers, there will always be one who is stronger and has more leadership qualities, and he will become the king of his own small group. And the tiger mom remembers that when she was young, she was the king among the litter of tiger cubs. As a tigress, she was stronger than her two brothers when she was young and had suppressed them since they were young. However, the genetic disadvantage of the female tiger meant that the mother tiger was unable to defeat her two brothers when they were 6 months old. However, the memory of being suppressed by their sister when they were young made the two brothers still very respectful of their sister. Unfortunately, the 3 tiger siblings left their mother when they were sub-adults, each looking for their own territories, and they never met again. In order to reduce the probability of close breeding, brothers and sisters will subconsciously disperse when looking for territory after they grow up, and mate with the opposite S*X of the same species farther away to breed healthy cubs. In addition, this is also to ensure sufficient food. Otherwise, if several adult tigers gather together, they will be invincible, but there will not be enough prey to share within the territory. Moreover, this would cause devastating damage to large organisms in an area and lead to large-scale migration of large herbivores. Therefore, tigers of the same species are evenly dispersed in the wild. This is an unwritten rule and tacit understanding among tigers. Recalling the happy times of her childhood, Tiger Mom was a little confused. My brain, is it working better now? It remembers that its previous memories before adulthood were very scattered and vague, and difficult to recall. As a result, today, watching the fights between Cang Nian and Hu Di, I recalled the scenes of my childhood and they all seemed quite clear. Shaking her head, Tiger Mom pushed these confusing thoughts out of her mind. Then it looked outside the cave. Although the tiger brother was still groaning in fear and pain when he saw a fox rushing out of its den when he came back from hunting last time, his mother was still frightened. But there is no way, in order to feed the 2 little ones, hunting cannot stop. Otherwise, the mother and her 2 children would have died together. Feeling that she had little nutrition left in her body, but still had plenty of strength, the tiger mom came to the 2 little ones who were already tired from playing, and lay down on her side. Roar! Then it let out a soft roar. Hearing the voice, Cang Nian and Hu did turn to look at Tiger Mom. The little tiger was stunned for a moment, then he twisted his butt and crawled to the soft belly of the tiger mother and drank milk happily. However, Cang Nian realized that things were not simple. The tiger mom's strategy for raising her baby is to let it go. If the baby doesn't cry, it means he is not hungry or doesn't want to poop. The tiger mom will never take the initiative to feed him. And there is only one possibility if it actively feeds milk. It was getting ready to go out hunting, so it fed the 2 cubs and made sure they were fully fed and drained of feces and urine before leaving, lest it not come back in a while and leave the 2 little ones hungry. Roar! Seeing that Cang Nian still didn't come to drink milk, the tiger mother roared again, urging him to do it. Hearing the sound, Cang Nian obediently went forward to drink milk, but in his heart he was thinking about tiger mom's hunting. It is noon outside. Although it is only June, it is quite hot today. Tigers are nocturnal animals and prefer to hunt after dark, but Tiger Mom chose this time. Obviously, this is not because the Tiger Mom is lacking in nutrition or physical strength. These problems would not prevent Tiger Mom from waiting for even 8 hours. The Tiger Mom had learned from the lesson of having her home stolen by a fox during her last hunt, so she planned to go out hunting while the weather was hot and many predators were unwilling to move. In this way, the possibility of Cang Nian and Hu Di, who remain in the cave, encountering danger is greatly reduced. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt warm in his heart. For their safety, the tiger mom has taken great pains to the point of going against her own hunting habits and racial instincts. This is maternal love, without reason, unrequited, and all-giving. If we have to give a reason, it is that Cang Nian and Hu Di are cubs of tiger mother. I must become stronger. Now Tiger Mom protects me and hunts for me. In the future, I will protect Tiger Mom so that she doesn't have to hunt anymore and will have more prey to eat than ever before. Cang Nian thought with determination. Soon, Cang Nian and Hu Di had drunk their fill of milk, and the tiger mother began to lick the 2 little ones' butts to help them with excretion. However, when it was Cang Nian's turn, he turned his butt away. Because, an hour ago, after Tiger Mom assisted him in defecation, he had already maxed out the proficiency of both shitting and peeing. Although the names of the 2 skills did not change, after the qualitative change, he could now defecate on his own. In front of Tiger Mom, he successfully defecated without any assistance, and Tiger Mom immediately showed a surprised smile. Then, it no longer lingered and ran out of the cave with a nimble posture. Chapter 13. It's only been 4 days since we first went out hunting. Could it be that my brother Tiger and I eat too much? Tiger Mom went out hunting again, and Cang Nian couldn't help muttering to himself. But after thinking about it, it seems to be true. My tiger brother and I were only 9 days old, but one weighed about 3 kilograms and the other about 6 kilograms. This was far beyond the growth rate of ordinary tiger cubs. Growing requires nutrition, so both myself and my younger brother Tiger eat an astonishing amount of food every day. As the two little ones grow bigger, their appetite also increases. It's no wonder that this was the second time Tiger Mom went out hunting in just over a week. The tiger mother goes out hunting specifically at noon, and there are probably not many animals that can come to the den during this time. But I can't let my guard down. I should stop exercising now and stay in good shape at all times to deal with possible dangers. Although I have no ability to resist, at least I can maintain sufficient physical strength so that I can run away when I encounter danger. Then, Cang Nian thought about it again and made preparations. So he lay on the ground with his head facing the cave entrance, opened his eyes wide and looked outside. When the tiger brother next to him saw that Cang Nian stopped crawling, he also fell to the ground, glancing at Cang Nian from time to time to make sure that Cang Nian allowed him to rest, and then he felt relieved. It trained with Cang Nian for a long time and got beaten a lot. Although it was not very smart, it still remembered the beatings and now has a bit of PTSD. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. After a while, Cang Nian heard a long and soothing snoring coming from behind him. When I turned around, I saw that tiger brother had fallen asleep on the ground, drooling from the corners of his mouth, and his mouth opened and closed from time to time, as if he was dreaming of drinking milk. Seeing this, Cang Nian stood up, walked to tiger brother, and raised his right paw. Bang! Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by +1. 16/100, a full force claw strike, accompanied by a system prompt sound. Oh! Then, the tiger brother who was slapped was suddenly awakened from his sleep, and then looked around in confusion. When it saw Cang Nian's familiar face, it was suddenly startled and hurriedly crawled on its belly. This is the stress response that Cang Nian has spent half a day to cultivate in it. It will immediately start to exercise self-discipline after being beaten. However, this is not what Cang Nian wants now. So, Cang Nian raised his claws and stretched them towards tiger brother. Seeing Cang Nian raise his claws again out of the corner of his eye, tiger brother shrank his head in fear and even closed his eyes, as if this would reduce the pain. However, the expected pain did not come. Cang Nian's claws did touch its body, but he just pressed hard, not slapped it. Roar! Cang Nian growled, signaling tiger brother not to move, without caring whether tiger brother understood or not. As for brother Hu, under the suppression of Cang Nian's power, he stopped crawling, but still shrank his head and observed Cang Nian's expression, with obvious confusion on his face. The young tiger brother did not understand what this action, which was different from before, meant. Seeing that brother Hu was no longer moving around, Cang Nian felt relieved. His meaning is very simple. Now when the tiger mom goes out hunting, although she specifically chooses noon, there are very few predators coming to the nest. But this does not mean it is necessarily safe. Therefore, Cang Nian will stop exercising to reduce consumption. In order to be alert to possible dangers, Cang Nian must also ensure that he is awake. Similarly, brother tiger must also stay awake. Otherwise, when danger comes and tiger brother is still sleeping, even if I wake him up immediately, he will be confused for a while like he did just now before he knows to run away. The last time, the tiger encountered a fox with low attack power, so he relied on his thick skin and flesh to avoid suffering too much damage, except for a row of teeth marks on his neck. But next time, or today, if it is a more powerful predator, tiger brother's moment of distraction may cost it its life. Therefore, even if there is no need to exercise now, tiger brother cannot be allowed to fall asleep. However, brother Hu could not understand Cang Nian's thoughts. Seeing that Cang Nian didn't ask him to continue crawling for exercise, Hu breathed a sigh of relief, but soon his eyelids began to twitch again. Seeing this, Cang Nian raised his claws again and slapped tiger brother. Oh! Then, tiger brother woke up from his daze again, just like the first time, and after a moment of confusion, he crawled instinctively. And Cang Nian took the trouble to hold it down and make it stay where it was. After repeating this 5 times, tiger brother finally understood what Cang Nian wanted him to do. So, tiger brother lay down behind Cang Nian, with his eyes wide open, not daring to move or close his eyes. Ding! Open your eyes for 3 hours, and your eye-opening skill proficiency will increase by +1. 15/100. After repeating this over and over again, the system prompt sounded, which meant that Tiger Mom had been gone for 3 hours. Oh! At this moment, Cang Nian suddenly heard the sound of something passing through the bushes outside. Ding! Listen once, listening skill proficiency +1. 1/100, then, another new skill was unlocked, but Cang Nian had no time to take care of it. Instead, he looked outside the cave with a tense look. Is it an enemy invasion? But 2 seconds later, Cang Nian saw 2 not-so-big hooves sticking out from the bushes outside the cave. Then, a familiar color of black, white and orange came into view. In Cang Nian's eyes, which already had a clear field of vision of 20 meters, it was not blurry. It's Tiger Mom. The Tiger Mother was seen holding a silly roe deer in her mouth and slowly returning to the den where Cang Nian and Tiger Brother were. Oh! It was not until the Tiger Mother entered the cave that the Tiger Cub, who had just opened his eyes, saw the Tiger Mother's appearance clearly. He crawled around happily and shouted happily, as if welcoming the Tiger Mother back from a successful hunt. Cang Nian also stood up and walked to Tiger Mom, roaring. Cang Nian is also generous with his respect for the Tiger Mom who goes out hunting under the scorching sun just to feed him. Seeing her cubs so excited, the Tiger Mother restrained her fierce aura a little and then put the roe deer she hunted on the ground. This silly roe deer is considered to be large in size, weighing approximately 40 kilograms. However, the amount of clean meat that can be eaten directly is estimated to be only about 25 kilograms. After putting down the prey, the Tiger Mother did not rush to eat, but lay on her side and fed Cang Nian and Tiger Brother. Seeing this, the little tiger boy excitedly crawled to the Tiger Mother's belly and started drinking milk happily. It only took the Tiger Mother 3 hours to go out hunting this time, but for the little tiger cubs, when they are not sleeping, 3 hours is basically the time interval between 2 meals. Seeing his younger brother Tiger eating heartily, Cang Nian also hurried over. He is a little hungry now. Chapter 14. When the Tiger Mother came back from hunting, she let Cang Nian and Tiger Brother drink enough milk, and then helped Tiger Brother to finish defecating before she started eating with peace of mind. And since Tiger Mom will not go out in the next few days, Cang Nian will naturally take Tiger Brother to practice. The existence of Tiger Mom gives Cang Nian the confidence to exercise without worry. Otherwise, it would be extremely foolish to exhaust his physical strength in the wild where dangers are lurking everywhere. But with Tiger Mom around, there aren't so many concerns. If he can pose a threat to himself under the protection of Tiger Mom, then no matter whether he has enough physical strength or not, he will not be able to resist at all. Tiger Brother was not stupid, he remembered everything and understood that Cang Nian beat him when Tiger Mom came back to make him crawl and exercise, and beat him when Tiger Mom was not around to prevent him from sleeping. So, Cang Nian took his brother Hu to train hard, regardless of the consumption. In addition, he also began to study the new skill he had just unlocked, listening. According to common sense, since I was born, except when I was sleeping, I have been listening to the movements of the outside world every moment. Why did I unlock it now? Cang Nian thought in some confusion. Could it be that I need to listen to the sound in the distance to unlock it? And if I want to improve my proficiency in this skill, I also need to listen carefully. Cang Nian thought about it and had some idea. Before, he listened to others passively. This time, because of the previous experience of Tiger Mom's home being stolen by a fox during her first hunting, she has been on guard against any movement outside during this period of time. But in this case, there would be no chance to verify it for the time being, so Cang Nian was too lazy to continue wasting time. If the listening skill is improved, it will be a good skill to use to guard against external enemies. However, for the time being, Cang Nian thinks it is more important to improve his ability to escape and fight back. On the other side of the cave, the Tiger Mother was eating quickly. This was the first time Cang Nian saw Tiger Mom eat. In fact, all in all, Tiger Mom has only eaten 3 times since Cang Nian traveled through time, including this time. The first time, the prey prepared before giving birth was pulled up from the pool of water deep in the cave. However, that time, Cang Nian had not opened his eyes yet, he just heard the noise, so he imagined it in his mind. The second time was when Tiger Mom went hunting for the first time. However, that time, when the Tiger Mom had just returned to the nest after eating outside, Cang Nian could see her slightly bulging belly and judged that the Tiger Mom had successfully hunted and had eaten. This time, Perhaps because he came back late after eating outside last time, the smell of the adult tiger in the cave became weaker, so the hungry fox dared to come and attack Cang Nian and Hu Di. That is why Tiger Mom decided to come back as soon as possible after the next hunt. The place where the Tiger Mom successfully hunted this time was probably relatively close to the nest, and the prey was small or medium-sized prey such as roe deer, which was effortless for an adult tiger like the Tiger Mom to drag. That's why the Tiger Mother eats in the den. Looking at the silly roe deer that was gutted by the Tiger Mom and smelling the strong smell of blood, Cang Nian was a little eager to make something. This is the desire for fresh meat that comes from deep in the tiger's blood. However, he is not able to eat meat yet. With his current weak digestive ability, he may not be able to digest raw meat. Moreover, his milk teeth have just grown out, which is much faster than the ordinary tiger cubs which take 2 weeks to grow milk teeth, but he is still a long way from being able to eat meat. However, the milk drinking skill has accumulated 10 levels of proficiency after the qualitative change. There are still 90 levels before the next qualitative change, which is expected to take about 10 days. Cang Nian estimated that the next qualitative change of this skill would be from drinking milk to eating meat. By that time, I will be less than a month old. Compared to ordinary tiger cubs, which take 2 months to try to eat meat, this will be much faster. Compared to liquid tiger milk, the nutritional value of solid flesh and blood is definitely higher, and it will also accelerate your growth. After swallowing his saliva, Cang Nian encouraged himself in his heart, and then crawled forward with all his might. The crawling skill is now almost accumulated to the 70 level, and it is not far from the next qualitative change. By then, my limbs will be stronger and I won't stagger like I do now. The Tiger Mom on the side ate very quickly, allowing Cang Nian to experience up close what it meant to eat voraciously. A nearly 40-kilogram roe deer was eaten down to its bones in just 2.5 minutes. The Tiger Mom was also quite smart. After finishing her meal, she first went out of the cave and fetched a pile of hay from outside. Then she wiped the remaining bones of the roe deer's body and the blood that dripped while she was eating. Then, the Tiger Mother wrapped the bone frame with hay and threw it out of the nest. It was a long time before Cang Nian saw Tiger Mom coming back. Obviously, Tiger Mom threw the garbage quite far away. Finally, the Tiger Mother came to the puddle in the nest and soaked her paws in it. Then she returned to the place where she had eaten and wiped the paws carefully with the water to make sure there was no blood left before returning to the puddle to wash her paws. This series of actions left Cang Nian stunned. Is this to remove the source of the smell, so that the smell will dissipate and no predators will come to find it by smelling it? Cang Nian thought in amazement. In his previous life, he didn't have a very deep understanding of tigers, but he felt that tigers that could do something like Tiger Mom should be among the smartest ones of their kind. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt more relieved. With a mother like Tiger Mom who is good at hunting and has a meticulous and cautious mind, my growth should be much smoother. However, the tiger brother behind Cang Nian was howling in agony. It was lazy to begin with, and now Cang Nian had to drag it to exercise. That was really uncomfortable. Seeing this, Cang Nian came behind the tiger brother and slapped it on the butt, urging it to work harder and not to be lazy. Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by +1. 17/100. The system faithfully recorded Cang Nian's full strength attack and converted it into the proficiency of the claw swing skill. Oh! This time, Tiger Brother howled even more miserably, but under Cang Nian's urging, he could only crawl faster. On the side, the Tiger Mom watched the two brothers interacting and smiled with satisfaction after eating and drinking. It now understood that Cang Nian was not playing with Tiger Brother, but was training himself with a purpose. Of course, it is very happy about this. It knows very well that the stronger it is, the more likely it is to survive in this jungle. But for male tigers, simply surviving is not enough. Among wild Siberian tigers, the vast majority of male tigers are not qualified to mate with female tigers and leave their own bloodlines. Only the tiger king of an area can win the mating rights of the female tiger. The more the two cubs hone themselves now, the stronger they will be in the future. Even if they are separated, they will be tiger kings in different regions and can leave behind their own bloodlines. Cang Nian didn't know that his self-disciplined behavior was just for the sake of survival, but Tiger Mom had already thought so far ahead. Chapter 15. Ding! Crawl 10m, crawling skill proficiency +1. 100/100, ding! Congratulations to the host, the crawling skill proficiency has reached the maximum value, and this skill has evolved into jogging. On the 12th day after his birth, a system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind, which made him very excited. From crawling to creeping, and now jogging, this is his first skill that has evolved twice. As the crawling skill evolved into jogging, Cang Nian felt that his limbs had been significantly strengthened, becoming thicker and more powerful. Feeling the changes in his body, Cang Nian couldn't wait to try running, and immediately felt the difference from before. Before, he could only crawl slowly. If he moved a little faster, his limbs would have difficulty stabilizing his body and he would easily fall. But now, he can jog very briskly, and can almost cover a distance of one body length in 1 second. My current height is 30 centimeters without the tail. So, I can run 1 meter in 3 seconds, 20 meters in a minute, and more than 1 kilometer in an hour. Cang Nian calculated with joy on his face. However, he also knew that the real situation could not be calculated in this way. Tigers are not creatures with strong endurance. Their current maximum speed can reach over 1 kilometer per hour, but it cannot be maintained for long. If you want to exercise for a long time, in hours, you need to slow down to about 1/3 of your maximum speed. In this case, he can only run about 400 meters in an hour. But this is already pretty good. According to the previous rules, for the initial skill crawling, every meter crawled counts as 1 level of proficiency, and for the advanced skill crawling, every 10 meters crawled counts as 1 level of proficiency. So the second advanced skill now is jogging, so jogging 100 meters should be counted as 1 level of proficiency, right? In this case, the experience bar of this skill would be 100 times 100, or 10,000 meters. If I can run 400 meters in an hour, then it would only take me 20 hours to reach full proficiency. You don't need too many tasks in a day. Just run 2 kilometers for 5 hours a day and you can accumulate enough in 5 days. Moreover, as my proficiency increases, my speed will only get faster and faster, and maybe I can finish it in 3 or 4 days. Thinking of this, Cang Nian was already imagining a future where he could move at a brisk pace. However, he is not just a dreamer, he is very capable of execution. He did it as he thought. Cang Nian stretched out his limbs again and jogged at a speed of 400 meters per hour. However, after running for a while, he realized that the expected system prompt sound did not come. This made him panic for a moment, but thinking of his previous experience, he continued to run with gritted teeth. Ding! Jog 1000m, jog skill proficiency +1. 1/100, finally, 2.5 hours later, Cang Nian was already exhausted and out of breath, and a system prompt sounded belatedly. Ah! 1 level of proficiency requires running 1000 meters? Then the entire progress bar is 100,000 meters? I'll have to run forever to finish this. The belated system notification sound surprised Cang Nian. If it weren't for the fact that this system would only respond after completing a certain amount of training and had no interactivity at all, Cang Nian would have burst into curse words by now. He felt that with his current physical fitness, even if Tiger Mom supplied him with unlimited milk, he could only run about 3,000 meters a day. Tigers are not animals with strong endurance. Running 1,000 meters like this is a huge test for a cub like Cang Nian. And this kind of training must be completed 100 times before the skills can be advanced again. In other words, with his current physical condition, this skill will take him a month. It's only been 12 days since he was born. Wait, such a long progress bar, does it mean that once I complete the jogging skill training and advance to the next level, I can really run without any scruples? After complaining for a while, Cang Nian suddenly felt a flash of lightning in his mind and guessed suspiciously. The more he thought about it, the more he felt that this was very likely. He can jog now, and as long as his limbs become stronger and more powerful, he will be able to run freely without any worries. And a month later, he was less than 1.5 months old. Normally, tiger cubs have to be 3 or 4 months old before they can run at full speed. If you calculate it by that, my speed is not slow. Moreover, this is only the initial speed. Once my jogging skills become more proficient, the speed will be even faster. Maybe I can complete the 100,000 meter task in 20 days. No, the cave is still too small. Running around in circles makes my head dizzy. How about, go out and take a look? Determined to complete the accumulation of jogging skill proficiency as soon as possible, Cang Nian suddenly felt the urge to go out. The cave where the tiger mother feeds her cubs is not small. It is more than 10 meters deep and 4 or 5 meters wide, which is equivalent to the area of a normal one-bedroom apartment. But for Cang Nian, who now needs to run thousands of meters, it is difficult for him to do so. Moreover, he now weighs 4 or 5 kilograms. Apart from those large beasts, there should not be many animals that dare to attack him. However, you should first master some attacking abilities before going out. But after thinking about it, out of caution, Cang Nian decided to wait until he became stronger before going out. And this doesn't have to wait too long. These days, he used the claw swing skill from time to time, actively accumulating proficiency in this skill. Now, the proficiency of this skill has reached more than 90 levels. Thinking of this, Cang Nian turned around and saw that Hu De was lying on the ground and slacking off again. So, he slowly came behind Tiger Brother and slapped Tiger Brother on his butt with one claw. Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by +1. 93/100, oh! This suddenly woke Tiger Brother up from his sleep. He cried out and started crawling as if by reflex. That's right, on just the 12th day after birth, Tiger Brother had already mastered the ability to crawl and no longer crawled on his belly. Its innate conditions are indeed good. Its birth weight is much higher than that of an adult. In addition, it can eat a lot and can digest and absorb the food, so its current weight is approaching 10 kilograms. As his body became stronger, his strength naturally increased, so Tiger Brother was able to crawl so early. This made Cang Nian quite frustrated. At this rate of growth, it would be difficult for him to surpass his younger brother Hu in size. Unless, when the two brothers have grown up and Tiger Brother can no longer grow, he may be able to overtake them by relying on the system's unlimited characteristics. However, Brother Tiger is very talented, which is also good news for Cang Nian. At the very least, during his growth process, Tiger Brother can keep up with his own growth rate and won't be left behind too easily. This guy is just too lazy. If I'm not watching him for a while, he'll just lie down and slack off. But this is good news for Cang Nian, as he now has a legitimate reason to beat up Tiger Brother. Oh! Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by 1. 94/100, Tiger Brother let out another miserable howl. Chapter 16. Ding! Swing your claw once, your skill proficiency in swinging your claw increases by +1. 100/100, ding! Congratulations to the host, the proficiency of the claw swing skill has reached the maximum value, and this skill has evolved into claw attack. Ah! Cang Nian roared in high spirits. Ding! Neo once, Neo skill proficiency +1. 45/100, finally maxed out my claw swing skill proficiency. As the system prompt sounded, Cang Nian felt that his claws, which were originally soft, became tougher and longer. Clang! Controlling the claws to pop out, Cang Nian could feel that now these were no longer just decorations, but sharp claws that could really draw blood. Now, it should be much safer when I go out on my own. At least if I encounter a small predator of the same size, I should be able to fight. Thinking of this, he walked towards the cave entrance. Snap! However, he had just reached the entrance of the cave when a huge figure rushed in front of him at lightning speed and pinned him down with one claw. Cang Nian felt a little dizzy and dazed by the claw, but he was not injured. When I looked up, Tiger Mom was looking at me with a serious expression, as if warning me not to run around. Obviously, the mother tiger was worried about her own safety and did not want a tiger cub who was only 12 days old to run out of the cave. This is too dangerous for such a young tiger cub. Regardless of whether Cang Nian was willing or not, the tiger mom opened her big mouth, gently grabbed the back of Cang Nian's neck, and walked towards the center of the cave. Driven by physiological instinct, Cang Nian curled up his limbs, with his tail tucked close to his legs, and obediently let the tiger mother carry him away. After a few seconds, Tiger Mom put Cang Nian down. However, how could this possibly discourage Cang Nian from going out? The space in the cave is too small, totally not enough for him now. But he would not act recklessly. He first seemed to give in, then stood up and trotted around in circles in the cave. When he ran to the edge of the cave entrance, Tiger Mom bent her body slightly, as if she was ready to stand up and arrest Cang Nian at any time. But Cang Nian did not rush out of the cave, but circled back obediently, as if he had given up escaping the cave. But Tiger Mom was not completely reassured and continued to watch him running circles in the cave. Finally, when Cang Nian had run more than 20 laps, Tiger Mom felt relieved, thinking that he understood what she meant and would not run around anymore. So she yawned with her mouth wide open, and lay down on the ground to sleep. It is afternoon now, which is when cats are at their lowest spirits. There is nothing more comfortable than taking a nap at this time. At this moment, Cang Nian saw out of the corner of his eye that Tiger Mom was sleepy, and he was secretly happy, but he still did not act rashly. After jogging for more than 10 laps, seeing that Tiger Mom's breathing became long and prolonged, Cang Nian continued to run laps calmly, but when he came to the entrance of the cave, he did not change direction, but rushed out straight away. After rushing out of the cave, an indescribable sense of freedom emerged from the bottom of my heart. Outside the cave where the tiger family hid was a lush bush. There was no obvious road directly connecting to the cave. There was only a passage squeezed out by the tiger mother among the bushes. The ground outside was not the hard bluestone slabs inside the cave, nor was it wet or dry mud and dust, but thick fallen leaves. It felt like a soft carpet underfoot, quite elastic, and made a creaking sound. Above the bushes are lush, tall trees with spots of light leaking through the gaps. The breeze rustled the branches and leaves, brushing against the old man's hair, bringing a refreshing and comfortable feeling. This is the real wilderness. Seeing this scene, Cang Nian exclaimed in his heart. No animals were seen yet, but the chirping of insects could be heard in the bushes. Not being attracted by the scenery for too long, Cang Nian raised his paw, ready to pass through the gap created by the tiger mother and explore further. But at this moment, he suddenly discovered that the light spot around him disappeared in an instant, and the completely obscured shadow outlined a familiar contour. Turning around, I saw that Tiger Mom had come behind me at some point, and even on the ground covered with fallen leaves, she didn't make any sound. This is the confidence of Tiger Mom hunting. Cang Nian exclaimed in his heart at an inappropriate time. Tiger hunting is simply divided into 3 steps. The first step is to find the prey. This requires strong observation skills and enough patience, because almost all creatures in the jungle will cover themselves with a layer of camouflage. The second step is to get close to the prey. Tigers do not have enough stamina and their explosive speed can only be maintained for a maximum of half a minute. Although their explosive speed can reach 20 meters per second, the actual running distance when hunting is only a few hundred meters. Therefore, this requires the tiger to have exquisite lurking ability and quietly approach its prey. The closer it is to the prey, the greater the possibility of a successful hunt. The third step is to chase and kill the prey. And the Tiger Mom came behind him without him noticing at all, which undoubtedly shows her extremely strong hiding ability. However, when Cang Nian was admiring Tiger Mom in his heart, Tiger Mom's face did not look very good. Cang Nian is very self-disciplined and smart, and requires almost no worries, which saves it a lot of effort. However, the cub, who was apparently very well behaved, is now disobedient, giving Tiger Mom a headache. I just caught him and brought him back to the cave, but he slipped out while I was taking a nap. This time, I must teach the kid a lesson so that he will remember not to run around anymore. Tiger Mom made up her mind. She stared at Cang Nian seriously for more than 10 seconds before lowering her head and picking him up. Seeing this, Cang Nian quickly turned over and lay on his back, exposing his belly and hiding the back of his neck. He wants to be outside. I can't be caught by Tiger Mom again. Seeing Cang Nian holding on like this, Tiger Mom refused to give in. She lowered her head and continued to try to pick up Cang Nian. Clang! There was no other way, Cang Nian could only stretch out his claws to resist the Tiger Mom's attack. With a random wave of his claws, Cang Nian's little claws scratched the tip of the Tiger Mother's nose. This made Tiger Mom slightly stunned, and then she raised her head slightly. After a while, Tiger Mom saw a drop of blood dripping onto Cang Nian's snow-white neck and then spreading out. It's over. Tiger Mom was scratched. This sudden change made Cang Nian feel guilty. He could see that there was a tiny scratch on the slightly pink tip of Tiger Mom's nose, and now a little blood was seeping out. Tiger Mom, on the other hand, stuck out her tongue and licked the stinging spot on the tip of her nose. A familiar smell of blood blossomed on her taste buds. Then, it lowered its head and looked into Cang Nian's eyes, which were shining. The tiger cub, which is only a dozen days old, has grown sharp claws that can scratch an adult tiger. My kid must be a genius. This is the only thought left in Tiger Mom's mind at this moment. Chapter 17. Just when Cang Nian thought he had angered Tiger Mom revealed a human-like smile on her tiger face, then gently pressed him with her paw, signaling him to stay where he was and not move. Then, the tiger mother trotted away, and came back here with her tiger brother in her mouth a few moments later. Tiger brother grew so fast. At only 12 days old, he already weighed 10 kilograms. It was difficult for his mother to hold him in her mouth. Then, the tiger mother put the confused tiger brother next to Cang Nian, and then took the lead and squeezed out a gap through the bushes where it often walked. Roar! After taking 2 steps, tiger mom turned around, growled, and shook her head. Then, the tiger mom crouched down, walked through the bushes, and walked away. This, is tiger mom going to take us out for a walk? After repeatedly pondering tiger mom's actions in his mind, Cang Nian suddenly realized. So he trotted to catch up with tiger mom. However, after running 2 steps, he turned around and slapped tiger brother on the butt with his claws. Ding! Claw attack once, claw attack skill proficiency +1. 1/100, ah! Cang Nian imitated the tiger mother's tone and growled, signaling to his younger brother tiger not to be lazy and to catch up quickly. Woo! The tiger brother, who was inexplicably clawed again, whimpered in grievance, and felt that it hurt even more when Cang Nian hit him. As it grows, the damage caused by Cang Nian's claws becomes less and less, but now, after a qualitative change, the claw attacks are extremely powerful. Even though the claw blade didn't pop out, tiger brother was still grimacing in pain. That is why it did not dare to delay at all and quickly stood up and crawled step by step behind Cang Nian's butt. Because tiger brother is larger in size, its stride is also larger. Therefore, Cang Nian did not need to speed up too much, and who would be able to keep up with him. The tiger mom did not ignore the 2 little ones, she just kept a distance of about 2 meters from them and led the way in front. After about half an hour, the mother and her 2 children passed through the bushes and jungle and came to an open space that was not blocked by tall trees. Next to the open space, there was a clear stream running through it, making a crisp gurgling sound. The stream is only 4 or 5 meters wide and probably not very deep. The water flows quite slowly and you can see sporadic animals drinking water around. The most eye-catching is a group of elks, about 40 or 50 of them, one of which is particularly tall, and its huge horns look majestic. When Cang Nian saw the herd of elk, the herd naturally discovered the presence of tiger mom. The elk that were drinking water stood up and looked at tiger mom vigilantly. Even the elk king dares not take it lightly when facing the queen of the jungle. However, the large number of the group prevented them from escaping immediately. But the tiger mom ignored the vigilance of the elk herd. It was not hungry yet, nor was it here to hunt, and it did not want to come into conflict with the herd of elk. As a very large tigress, the tiger mother weighs nearly 200 kilograms. It's not that she is incapable of hunting such a big creature, but now she has 2 cubs to feed, and she doesn't want to take the risk of getting injured. Moreover, an adult male elk weighs more than 200 kilograms, and its net meat is more than 100 kilograms. Tiger mom cannot eat it all in one meal. Now that the weather is getting warmer, it cannot be preserved for too long even if it is kept in a pond. If it is hunted, it will be an advantage for other predators. When the 2 cubs grow up, they will need a lot of nutrition. By then, the appetite of 3 adult tigers will be just enough to eat 1 elk, which can be the hunting target for the mother and her cubs. Ouch! However, the next second, the tiger mom opened her mouth wide, raised her head and let out a long roar. The alarming tiger roar pierced the afternoon jungle, startling the birds and causing a group of animals drinking water by the stream to flee. Even the huge herd of elk did not dare to stay under the breathtaking tiger roar and immediately dived into the dense forest. How impressive! Looking at the tiger mom's roar that shook the mountains and forests, and the beasts retreating when the beast king appeared, Cang Nian was filled with envy. However, this also made him feel quite happy. As long as I grow up healthily, I will definitely be able to do the same in the future. Moreover, I am a male tiger and I have a system. When I grow up, I will definitely be the unprecedented tiger king and will definitely be more majestic than the tiger mom. Ah! Led by tiger mom, Cang Nian instinctively opened his mouth and roared loudly. Ding! Neu once, Neu skill proficiency +1. 46/100, although his voice was still a little childish, it was an advanced skill after all. It was much louder than the initial baby voice and had some of the power of a young beast king. Oh! When Tiger Brother saw Tiger Mom and Cang Nian roaring, he thought that if he didn't roar, he would be a bit out of place, so he also roared lazily twice. Seeing this, Tiger Mom showed a strange look on her face and then shook her head. Then, it walked to a place shaded by trees, stretched itself, and then lay down comfortably. Roar! Then, it looked at Cang Nian and Hu De lying on the grass and growled. Tiger Mom was just chasing away the other animals, but now she's letting us move freely. Seeing this, Cang Nian interpreted Tiger Mom's thoughts suspiciously. Looking at Tiger Mom again, although she was resting, her eyes were still open and she was following him and Tiger Brother. Cang Nian became more certain of his guess. Tiger Mom couldn't persuade herself to go out and play, so she simply took the two brothers to this open space with a clear view and let them play to their heart's content. The tiger's roar just now scared away other animals and eliminated most of the danger at the source. And here everything is in full view, so Tiger Mom can keep an eye on it at all times, which is a solid insurance for safety. Thinking of this, Cang Nian suddenly felt comfortable. This open space is neither big nor small. There is no tall vegetation covering it. It is about 300 meters long and 200 meters wide. The area of 60,000 square meters is almost the same as some small primary and secondary school campuses. It is more than enough for the two little ones who are only 12 days old to play. Bang! Ding! Claw attack once, claw attack skill proficiency +1. 2/100, thinking of this, Cang Nian vigorously pawed Tiger Brother's butt, and then ran freely on the grass. Since Tiger Brother had been trained for so long, he naturally knew that Cang Nian was asking him to exercise, so he stood up reluctantly and crawled behind Cang Nian. Ding! Jog 1000m, jog skill proficiency +1. 2/100, as time passed, a system prompt sounded in Cang Nian's mind. 1000 meters is a lot of exercise for a little tiger cub like him. At this moment he was already out of breath. He quickly ran to the tiger mother and drank milk in big gulps. After resting for a while, Cang Nian continued to rush out, persevering in self-disciplined exercise. When Cang Nian went to drink milk, Tiger Brother also drank it, but he was too tired, so he stayed beside Tiger Mom and fell asleep. Bang! But the next second, it was clawed on its butt. Tiger Brother, awakened from his sleep, looked around and saw Cang Nian jogging on the grass. How strange! Brother Hu was very puzzled. Since Cang Nian was not with it, who beat it? But then, it felt a force pushing it from behind. When it looked up, it saw Tiger Mom looking at it with a smile. Oh! Brother Tiger wailed miserably. It would be fine if Cang Nian didn't let it rest, but why didn't Tiger Mom let it rest either? Chapter 18. The sun set in the west. After exercising all afternoon, Cang Nian and Tiger Brother returned to the cave along the original route at the call of Tiger Mom. Although the two brothers are still in their growth stage, there won't be any problem if they sleep outdoors. But a place to shelter from wind and rain is a good place for them to improve their comfort. There is no need to suffer if they can be more comfortable. It's about the same as my plan. After unlocking the jogging skill, I can run about 3,000 meters a day. I've accumulated 3 levels of proficiency. If I start at dawn tomorrow, I should be able to run 4,000 meters if I hurry up. On the way home, Cang Nian counted his gains and felt quite satisfied. Every drop of your sweat will not be wasted. However, tigers do not seem to sweat, so when Cang Nian gets overheated while jogging, he can only open his mouth to dissipate heat. And Tiger Brother standing aside was extremely tired. Because, today, not only Cang Nian is forcing it to exercise, but even Tiger Mom is urging it to do so. Apart from the necessary drinking of milk, defecation, and rest, it is impossible for it to be lazy. The reason why Tiger Mom did this was, on the one hand, because of the influence of Cang Nian. She felt that Cang Nian was so self-disciplined, so Tiger Brother couldn't fall behind. In addition, there is another reason, which is Brother Tiger himself. Tiger Mom finally realized that Tiger Brother's growth rate was too astonishing. Although Tiger Mom can't remember how fast she grew up as a child, Tiger Brother's growth rate is incredible. Only 12 days old, and he's already almost 10 kilograms. His Tiger Mom is shaking even when she holds him in her mouth. Moreover, this cub is not only good at eating and growing, but also very lazy. If this continues, I might end up as fat as a ball, unable to hunt, and starving to death. Therefore, Tiger Mom is very supportive of Cang Nian urging Tiger Brother to exercise. 13th day after birth. Without any need for Cang Nian to beg, Tiger Mom took Cang Nian and Tiger Brother out early in the morning and walked towards the vast open space again. This time, the herd of elk that drank water by the stream yesterday were gone, but there was a group of sika deer instead. What was different from yesterday was that this time, Tiger Mom did not rush out of the dense forest. Instead, she gently pressed her claws on the little heads of Cang Nian and Tiger Brother, signaling them not to move. Then, Tiger Mom crouched down and, under the cover of the dense forest, moved closer to the stream step by step. With every step, the muscles under the Tiger Mom's gorgeous fur moved slowly, and the ground where her paw pads touched, even though it was covered with a humus layer of fallen leaves, did not make any unnecessary movement, as if the mute button was pressed. Seeing this, Cang Nian's eyes suddenly lit up. Tiger Mom is going hunting. Counting the days, it has been almost 4 days since Tiger Mom last ate. A roe deer only has more than 20 kilograms of pure meat. Even if the tiger mother does not need to feed the cubs, she can only last for a week at most. Now, every time Tiger Brother and I exercise for a while, we have to drink milk, at least 8 times a day, and at most 12 times. This is a huge consumption of Tiger Mom's nutrition. Not to mention, the 2 brothers' growth rate far exceeds that of ordinary tiger cubs, which puts a greater drain on their mother. Therefore, it is estimated that the nutrients that Tiger Mom had eaten before have been almost consumed, and it would be wise to eat as soon as possible before she gets hungry. If you wait until you are really hungry to try hunting, it will be too late. Looking at the tiger brother who was ready to make a move, Cang Nian quickly pressed his paw on its mouth. The little tiger is not stupid, and he can see that his mother is going to hunt, but he still has the mentality of a child and keeps wagging his tail excitedly. Cang Nian was afraid that it would get too excited and make noise, disturbing the tiger mother's hunting. Being pressed by Cang Nian like this, Tiger Brother was very puzzled, but under the pressure of Cang Nian's majesty, he could only lie down obediently. I'm glad I didn't get beaten. Meanwhile, Tiger Mom had patiently lurked 100 meters from the stream. At this time, the Sika deer had not yet realized that danger was approaching. However, the Tiger Mom did not think of getting angry at this point, but slowed down her pace and continued to approach. After all, the closer you are during the lurking phase, the shorter the distance you need to chase during the sprint phase, and the higher the probability of successful hunting. Step by step, Tiger Mom was only 30 meters away from the nearest Sika deer. She had already started to adjust her breathing and was ready to start at any time. At this distance, it is 70% sure that the hunt will be successful. Whoosh! However, at this moment, an extremely agile figure suddenly rushed out from the flank of the Sika deer herd and pounced on an adult female Sika deer. Thump thump thump! Such a sudden movement made the entire herd of Sika deer excited. They fled in all directions and went directly into the deep jungle on the other side of the stream. The Tiger Mom was slowed down by this scene. She was stunned for a second before she rushed out and rushed towards her original goal. However, being 1 second slower is enough to create a distance of dozens of meters for a creature like the Sika deer that is proficient in sprinting. The tiger mother tried her best to run and chase the prey, but she lacked endurance. After chasing for 300 meters, her speed slowed down and she could not catch up with the prey. Ouch! Originally, she wanted to show her hunting skills in front of the 2 cubs to let them see how powerful their mother is. However, because of the uninvited guest, she wasted her time and energy. The tiger mother was immediately furious, and her tiger roar shook the entire jungle. Then, it looked around with its tiger eyes, and then its eyes lit up. Not far away, a big cat with circular spots all over its body and shiny fur was biting the neck of a hornless Sika deer, while the deer's 4 hooves were still struggling. Seeing this, the tiger mom was in a very happy mood. She walked towards the big cat leisurely with elegant cat steps. As for the big cat, its eyes were alert and fearful as it dragged the still dead Sika deer backwards. But after 2 steps, its eyes became clear. Then, it let go of the deer in annoyance and ran away quickly in the opposite direction of the tiger mother. The Sika deer, out of its survival instinct, immediately stood up, but was just knocked down by the big cat and bitten on the throat. It couldn't accelerate explosively and was instantly knocked down by the tiger mom who was prepared. Snap! As an adult tiger, the tiger mother has much more amazing bite force. She can easily bite off the throat of the prey, allowing it to die without much pain. Although the hunt was not successful, she was lucky enough to have snatched a prey. The tiger mother was in a very happy mood. She dragged the prey towards the place where Cang Nian and Tiger Brother were hiding. Hunting ability is a survival skill, and so is robbing ability. As a tiger, in this jungle, except for adult brown bears, other predators can only obediently offer their prey. She is the queen of this jungle. Seeing that Tiger Mom had successfully hunted, Cang Nian and Tiger Brother hurried out to greet her. At the same time, in the gaps between the bushes on the opposite bank, a pair of eyes watched the scene quietly. Chapter 19 When he arrived in front of Tiger Mom, Cang Nian rubbed his cheek against hers to express his praise for her successful hunting. Then he led Tiger Brother to be self-disciplined. Although the Tiger Mom failed to hunt the prey herself, it was because of the interference of the leopard. Otherwise, with her rich hunting experience, she would not have missed the prey by lurking so close to it. According to Cang Nian's understanding of the surrounding environment in the past 2 days, if he is still on Earth in this life, then it is almost certain that this place should be in the snow ridge in the northeast of Longguo. In this case, the leopard should be a subspecies of Panthera tigris that is even rarer than the national treasure panda, the Far Eastern leopard, also known as the Amur leopard. After seeing the Tiger Mom's heroic hunting scene with his own eyes, Cang Nian became even more eager to become stronger as soon as possible. I wish I could hunt like this. Cang Nian thought enviously while jogging. The more he thought about it, the more enthusiastic Cang Nian became about exercising. With the existence of the system, every effort you make will not be in vain. Maybe you won't have to wait until adulthood to easily become a hunter like Tiger Mom. The Tiger Mom was eating the carcass of the sika deer in the shade of a tree. This sika deer is a female deer, weighing about 70 kilograms. After all, given the size of the Amur leopard, it is difficult to hunt an adult male sika deer weighing more than 100 kilograms. However, this kind of prey is just right for Tiger Mom. It weighs 70 kilograms, with a net meat of about 40 kilograms, which can feed Tiger Mom a good meal and last longer than the previous silly roe deer weighing only 40 kilograms. However, looking at Cang Nian who was exercising, and Tiger Brother who wanted to slack off but didn't dare to, Tiger Mom felt that she might not be able to hold out for much longer. After all, Cang Nian and Hudi are growing too fast, changing every day. But growth comes at a price, and that price is nutrition. Now, Cang Nian and Hudi can only get nutrition from Tiger Mom's tiger milk, so how long Tiger Mom can last after eating at one time depends entirely on how much Cang Nian and Hudi eat. As their bodies grow, Cang Nian and Hudi's appetite will only increase. But after just a brief moment of worry, the Tiger Mom stopped worrying. Now the two cubs can walk freely. Faster growth means more consumption, but it also means that they can acquire the ability to protect themselves sooner. For example, now, the two brothers, who should have been crawling slowly in the nest and sleeping most of the day, can now follow it everywhere, and they don't make any noise when they are taken around. They can even be taken along for hunting to provide protection. Maybe, it won't be long before the two cubs will be able to hunt on their own, and it won't be too difficult to raise them on their own. Tiger Mom thought very optimistically, then swallowed a mouthful of venison leg meat happily, feeling extremely satisfied. Ding! Jog 1000M, Jog Skill Proficiency +1. 4/100, hey, now that I'm familiar with this jogging rhythm, my speed seems to have increased a lot. This 1000 meters should have taken me only 2 hours. Listening to the system prompt sound in his mind, Cang Nian thought happily. It should be June now, approaching the summer solstice, the weather is getting hotter, but at the same time, the daytime hours are getting longer. Now, from sunrise to sunset, there are about 16 hours. Excluding eating, drinking, defecating, urinating and necessary rest, there are about 12 hours a day available for exercise. If I accumulate 1 level of proficiency in 2 hours, I can accumulate 6 levels in 1 day. The higher the proficiency, the faster the speed. So, I may be able to accumulate 100 levels in half a month, which will make my jogging skill a qualitative change. Cang Nian thought very optimistically. Soon, it was noon, the sun was high in the sky, and the weather was hot. Even though Cang Nian wanted to run, his young body could not withstand such exertion. He could only take his younger brother to the shade of a tree next to his mother, and rest with his tongue out. I have accumulated more than 2 levels this morning, and I am just a little short of the third 1000 meters. I will work hard this afternoon and must complete the 6 levels I planned for today. While resting, Cang Nian was thinking. At this time, brother who was also very tired and fell asleep under the shade of a tree. Bang! But just when brother who was having a sweet nap, he was suddenly awakened. This gave it a startle, and it quickly raised its head and looked around, only to find that it was not close to Cang Nian or Tiger Mom, and was very puzzled. It wasn't Mom and brother who fought. What is that? Tiger Brother looked down and found an exploded pine cone next to his paw, so he looked up. I saw a small creature I had never seen before, pulling pine cones with its little claws, on a branch about 4 or 5 meters high. However, there are so many animals that Tiger Brother has never seen. Apart from tiger mom's prey, he has only seen birds and insects that can be seen everywhere. But when he saw the culprit who disturbed his nap, tiger brother was immediately furious, so he lowered his body, raised his head, and roared loudly. Although the volume is not as loud as Cang Nian, who has advanced his roaring skills once, tiger brother is bigger in size and has a strong chest, so his roar is still quite powerful. What's wrong with brother tiger? The noise immediately attracted Cang Nian, who was still resting. Tiger brother seldom roars loudly, and basically only roars when he is beaten. Looking at the angry tiger brother, Cang Nian followed its gaze upwards and finally found the object of the tiger brother's howling under the pine leaves. This seems to be a sable, right? Looking at the little creature with a slender figure and smooth fur, Cang Nian thought suspiciously in his heart. Like the Siberian tiger, this little creature is also a national first-class protected animal and is quite rare. It seems that the natural environment of this jungle is really good. There are Siberian tigers, Siberian leopards, and sables. Cang Nian sighed in his heart. However, judging from its size, its body length is estimated to be only about 10 centimeters, and it is undoubtedly still a minor. No wonder it can only do the work of squirrels, collecting pine cones and eating pine nuts from pine trees. Because adult sables feed on squirrels and small birds. At this moment, the sable on the tree seemed to have noticed its tiger brother howling at it under the shade of the tree. Its pair of small yellow eyes looked down from the tree, curious and puzzled. Seeing this, tiger brother thought that the other party was provoking him and became even more angry. He was so angry that he could only crawl slowly before, but now he trotted to the pine tree where the sable was. He put his 2 front paws on the rough bark of the pine tree and was about to climb up. However, tiger brother's limbs were not strong enough, and he was too fat, so he just climbed up to the height of 1 paw before he fell to the ground with his arms and legs spread out. Squeak! Upon seeing this, the sable in the tree began to squeak with delight, which made tiger brother even angrier. At this moment, Cang Nian, who was watching the battle on the side, suddenly had his eyes light up. Chapter 20. Yes. How could I forget about climbing a tree? This is the best way to protect yourself before you have strong fighting power. Cang Nian patted his head with his claws and sighed. Climbing trees is a common ability in nature. But this is also the best way for many animals to protect themselves from natural enemies. For example, many fables and jokes involve climbing a tree when encountering a bear. Although, in actual situations when encountering bears, it is likely that humans cannot climb trees as fast as bears are good at climbing trees. However, if you can really surpass the bear in climbing trees faster, then it is possible to protect yourself. After all, a person who can climb a tree usually weighs much less than a bear. If they can climb onto a branch of suitable thickness and the bear won't dare to go up, they can hold on long enough, waiting for the bear to lose patience or for other people to rescue them, then they still have a chance of survival. The same is true of Cang Nian's expectations for tree climbing skills. His target did not need to be unable to climb trees, as long as the other person could not climb as fast as him and was much heavier than him. Then he could stand on a thinner branch that could support him, and the other person would not dare to catch him, unless the other person was willing to risk falling from the towering tree together with him. So, tree climbing is undoubtedly a very practical skill. Thinking of this, Cang Nian felt that he had rested enough, so he walked briskly to Huti's side. Seeing his brother coming, the younger tiger quickly pointed at the sable on the tree with his claws, humming and whining as if he was accusing the other party. In response, Cang Nian could only pat tiger brother's head gently with his paw, signaling it to be patient. Then, Cang Nian placed his front paws on the straight trunk of the pine tree and felt the grip. Then, he climbed up step by step with his front paws and his hind paws left the ground, but subconsciously he spread his legs apart with his paw pads hanging in the air. After trying twice, he found that he couldn't move upwards this way. Then he jumped down again. No, I have to change human habitual thinking. The way humans climb trees is not suitable for the tiger's body structure. After the first failure, Cang Nian quickly summed up the reasons for his failure. In his previous life, he had climbed trees as a child, but due to the human body structure, one climbs by clamping the tree trunk with both legs, loosening and clamping, and coordinating with hands and feet to climb. But tigers are different. They don't have flexible legs like humans, nor do they have particularly strong adductor muscles. They are unable to clamp their legs together. This action will only get their eggs stuck on a tiger. But how does a tiger climb a tree? Cang Nian had a headache and tried hard to recall whether there were any clips of tigers climbing trees in the documentaries he had watched in his previous life. Roar! At this moment, a low growl came from behind the two brothers. Turning around, I saw Tiger Mom walking towards me gracefully. Then, without any warning, Tiger Mom rushed forward in 2 steps, and in the blink of an eye she had reached a height of 4 or 5 meters above the pine tree and stopped in front of the little sable. This move astounded Cang Nian and made Hu Din nod his head with joy. As for the little sable, it was trembling with fear. Finished. If you provoke the little guy, call the parents over. Squeak. My life is over. The little sable felt as if it had fallen into an ice cellar and dared not move. However, what it didn't expect was that the tiger mother, whose tiger face had already hit its head, did not do anything to it. She just twitched her nose twice, showing an expression of disgust, then turned around and fell lightly from the tree. Squeak. Seeing this, the little sable went limp all over and almost fell off the tree. He quickly hugged the branch, still in fear. Fortunately, I stink, otherwise I would be dead today. Roar. Tiger Mom landed safely, and under the admiring gazes of Cang Nian and Tiger Brother, she growled and raised her head, signaling the two brothers to give it a try. Seeing that Cang Nian likes exercising so much, Tiger Mom also wanted to teach him various skills, so she performed hunting in front of the two little ones. Now seeing the two little ones trying to climb the tree but not knowing how to do it, she ran over to demonstrate. As for the little sable, such a small creature, with little meat and a bad smell, is not on its menu. Moreover, it had just eaten, so it wouldn't be so hungry that it would eat anything. Besides, the eldest cub is very lazy. This is the first time he is trying hard to do something because of his anger. I can't kill his motivation to strive. Keep it for the older cub to play with, and wait until it can climb the tree and catch the little sable by itself. Then you can kill it or eat it as you wish. This is what Tiger Mom thinks. On this side, Cang Nian was recalling the posture of Tiger Mom when she climbed the tree. I see. Tigers are digitigrade animals, and their claws can bend at a large angle, so when a tiger climbs a tree, all 4 claws are attached to the tree trunk, just like walking on the tree trunk. Cang Nian suddenly realized. With the standard demonstration, Cang Nian couldn't wait to try climbing the tree himself using standard movements, so he imitated Tiger Mom's movements, trotted towards the tree trunk, and with a leap, jumped onto the trunk. Ding! Jump once, jump skill proficiency +1. 1/100, at this moment, a system prompt sounded, causing Cang Nian to lose his balance and fall off the tree trunk. Fortunately, he didn't jump very high, so it didn't hurt much when he fell. What a pleasant surprise! I never thought about training my jumping ability before. But it's true. Before I unlocked the jogging skill, my limbs didn't have enough strength to support jumping. Cang Nian shook his head to shake off the weeds and leaves stuck to his hair, then adjusted his state and continued trying. Then he ran and jumped again. Ding! Jump once, jump skill proficiency +1. 2/100, this time, he was not disturbed by the system prompt sound. His 4 claws instinctively popped out the claw blades and fixed himself firmly on the tree trunk. Feeling the sturdy body, Cang Nian took a deep breath, then boldly released his right front paw, climbed up a step, and then quickly secured it with the claw blade. Sure. Go ahead. After climbing for a while, it was still very stable. Cang Nian became more confident. Then he followed the tiger's walking habit, raised his left hind paw, climbed up a step, and then quickly secured it with the claw blade. Left front paw, right hind paw, right front paw, left hind paw. Step by step, Cang Nian climbed more and more steadily. He became bolder and let go of his restraint, climbing faster and faster with each step. Ding! Climb 1M, climbing skill proficiency +1. 1/100, after climbing for a while, a system prompt sounded, which made Cang Nian couldn't help but smile. Sure enough, climbing a tree can be considered a skill, and it doesn't seem difficult to master this skill. Seeing this, Cang Nian was overjoyed. Compared to the jogging skill which is difficult to change for the time being, it seems that the jumping skill just acquired and the current climbing skill are more cost-effective. Cang Nian was calculating in his mind. Ah! At this moment, an excited roar came from below. Cang Nian looked down and saw Tiger Brother showing off to the little sable. It seemed to be saying, "Look! My brother is here to catch you." Chapter 21. Squeak! Seeing Cang Nian crawling towards him, the little sable, which had just been frightened by the tiger mother and was almost limp, quickly moved from the thin branch where it was originally located to the main trunk, and then climbed up very quickly. Ah! When tiger brother under the tree saw the little thing trying to run away, he became anxious and turned around, howling at Cang Nian, as if he wanted Cang Nian to catch the little sable quickly. However, Cang Nian ignored it. Sables are animals that are good at climbing trees. They have slender bodies and light bodies. Even if I evolve my climbing skills once, I may not be able to defeat the opponent. So, let alone catching it, it's impossible to even catch up with it. Ignoring his tiger brother's cries, Cang Nian climbed up step by step, enjoying the fun of climbing. Ding! Climb 1M, climbing skill proficiency +1. 2/100, soon, a system prompt sounded, which made Cang Nian very excited. It's so cool to get such quick motivational feedback. For example, for a jogging skill that has been advanced twice, it takes 2 hours to accumulate 1 level of proficiency. It is really difficult and requires a lot of perseverance to persist. But this newly unlocked skill is different, it improves very quickly. Maybe today I can complete the task of climbing 100 meters and evolve this skill once. Cang Nian thought very optimistically. If you can evolve your climbing skills, then it wouldn't be a bad idea to stop jogging for half a day and take a break. In this way, encouraged by the prompt sounds from the system, Cang Nian climbed step by step towards the top of the pine tree, temporarily forgetting everything. After more than 10 minutes, he suddenly realized that he did not have enough strength. Compared to jogging, climbing, an exercise that overcomes gravity, consumes more physical energy. Unconsciously, his climbing ability and proficiency have accumulated to the 15th level. Wait, 1 floor is 1 meter, 15 floors. At this moment, Cang Nian suddenly woke up and glanced down with a stiff neck. But just this one glance made him feel dizzy. So high. This is equivalent to the height of a 5-story building. Moreover, the impact of height on oneself is inversely proportional to body size. The smaller the body, the more terrifying the same height will be. When I was a human in my previous life, I was 1.8 meters tall, and facing the height of a 5-story building, I felt nothing special. And now, he is only 40 centimeters tall. Moreover, tigers are not upright animals, and their eye level when standing normally is only about 20 centimeters. For such a small tiger, these 15 meters are no different from an ordinary person standing on a 20-story building. This sight frightened him so much that he almost loosened his claws. He quickly tensed his muscles and dug his claws deeply into the bark, firmly fixing himself in place. Turning back, Cang Nian didn't dare to look down again, and the feeling of dizziness improved a lot looking further up. While he was concentrating on climbing the tree, the little sable was being chased by him and climbing up, and was about 3 or 4 meters above him. However, the other party's condition is much better than Cang Nian's. As a natural tree climber, the little sable is now at ease and even feels like laughing. It is afraid of Tiger Mom. Tiger Mom's climbing skills are so powerful that if she really wants to catch it, it may not be able to escape. But for a half-baked person like Cang Nian, it's good enough that he can climb steadily by himself. Catching it is just a pipe dream. However, Cang Nian didn't care at all what the little sable was thinking. He was just thinking about how to get down. Although Tiger Mom had just demonstrated how to climb up and down a tree. But if Cang Nian remembered correctly, when Tiger Mom got down from the tree, she turned her head directly on the tree trunk and dived down. This requires a lot of physical coordination and the limbs must be strong enough. Obviously, Cang Nian's current physical condition and the little physical strength he has left are not enough to support him to accomplish such a feat. After thinking about it, Cang Nian prepared to go back step by step along the original route. This way, he wouldn't have to look directly at the height that made him dizzy. He did it as he thought. Cang Nian raised his left paw, reached down and scratched the bark. Then, follow the same method and explore downward step by step. After 2.5 minutes, he estimated that he had descended about 1 or 2 meters, but his limbs had begun to tremble. This method is effective, but the problem is that his physical strength does not support it. Feeling that his strength was running out, Cang Nian could only use the last bit of his energy to crawl onto a protruding thick branch and stand on it carefully. Hey, this will take forever. There is still a huge gap, Cang Nian thought tiredly. Fortunately, after a while, he got used to the feeling of looking down from a high place and no longer felt so dizzy. Through the pine needles and leaves, Cang Nian could see that Tiger Brother was still looking up and howling, as if he was really fighting with the little sable. Thinking of this, Cang Nian looked up and saw the little sable was 3 or 4 meters above him. This guy, is he here to laugh at me? He keeps such a distance from me. Cang Nian was filled with hatred, but he could do nothing about the little sable. On the tree, it is the opponent's territory and you can't do anything about it. Ignoring the little sable who was watching the show, Cang Nian looked down and saw the figure of Tiger Mom. Tiger Mom is under this pine tree, looking up. Obviously, Tiger Mom was not too confident about Cang Nian climbing the tree, so she watched him from below to avoid any accidents. Seeing this, Cang Nian's eyes lit up. Ah! Then he grasped the branch firmly, took a deep breath, and roared with all his might. Ding! Nehu once, Nehu skill proficiency +1. 85/100, as a loud cry sounded, the system prompt sound immediately echoed in my mind. When exercising normally, Cang Nian would yell for no reason. On the one hand, it is to accumulate proficiency in this skill, and on the other hand, it is to concentrate your attention, just like shouting while exercising in the gym. But now, the purpose of his howling was not like this. He was asking for help. Since he couldn't get down by himself, he didn't want to stay on the tree any longer. Just call Tiger Mom to take you down, which saves time and effort. He had nothing to be embarrassed about. As a cub, is there anything wrong with calling Mom when you are in trouble? When the tiger mother under the tree heard Cang Nian's frightened cry, her ears immediately pricked up. Then, without saying a word, she took 2 steps back, then rushed forward and climbed up the tree in the blink of an eye. Then, like an orange rocket, Tiger Mom shot up from the ground and walked on the tree trunks as if it were flat ground. In just 5 seconds, Tiger Mom rushed to Cang Nian, stretched her neck forward, and grabbed the back of Cang Nian's neck with her big mouth. After doing all this, Tiger Mom turned around on the tree trunk and dived down from a height of more than 10 meters in 3 seconds, making Cang Nian feel a sense of weightlessness that was more exciting than riding a roller coaster. Hey, finally came down. When being put down by Tiger Mom, Cang Nian felt as if his whole body was lying on cotton, light and fluttering. Chapter 22. After a moment of fear, Cang Nian stopped climbing trees. This was so scary that he is still a little shocked. After resting for a while, the hottest time of the day, noon, had passed, and Cang Nian took hoodoo to continue running exercise. For the time being, he decided not to climb the tree and would try again tomorrow after he had recovered. However, he didn't dare to climb like this anymore. There is no shame in asking the Tiger Mom for help once you climb too high and cannot come down. But if I ask for help again for this reason and fall in the same place twice, it would be too embarrassing. For the next half day, Cang Nian arranged everything according to the original plan. Until the sun set, he finally completed the day's accumulation of 6 levels of jogging skill proficiency. After completing a day's task, the family of 3 returned to the nest and slept comfortably. 14th day of birth. Just as the sky was getting light, the family of 3 arrived at an open space not far from the cave. Brothers Cang Nian and Huda started a new day of exercise. Because she had eaten yesterday, the Tiger Mom had nothing to do. She just lay there leisurely, watching the 2 brothers exercise. The various animals that came to drink water at the nearby stream did not dare to get close, especially the herbivores on Tiger Mom's menu. They all stared at the water with one eye to drink water and at Tiger Mom with the other, ready to escape at any time. However, the tiger mother, who had just eaten, did not care about their vigilance. What she had to guard against now was some blind creature that might come and attack the 2 little ones. In order to save effort, the Tiger Mom would occasionally let out 2 loud tiger roars to scare away the surrounding animals. This was undoubtedly an extremely overbearing behavior. Just for Cang Nian and Hudi's play, they occupied a large area of precious high-quality water sources. However, as the queen of the jungle and standing at the top of the food chain, Tiger Mom has the capital. Even if she could speak, other animals would not dare to say no. Cang Nian, on the other hand, was jogging hard, keeping his breathing even, and maintaining a speed that allowed him to run for a long time but not too easily. Today, his goal is to accumulate the 7th level of proficiency in jogging skills. As he continued to eat and digest, his body grew rapidly. Even if his skill proficiency did not improve, the improvement in his physical fitness would make him grow faster and faster. Combined with the improvement in skill proficiency of the system, he is now making progress every moment. Therefore, we cannot be content with the status quo. The purpose of exercise is not to achieve any fixed goal, but to drain our physical strength and tap the potential hidden in our body. Therefore, you should constantly adjust your exercise goals according to your body's growth progress, and strive to achieve the best exercise results. Ding! Jog 1000m, Jog Skill Proficiency +1. 12/100, in one morning, Cang Nian successfully completed the accumulation of the third level of proficiency in the jogging skill. Seeing the sun getting higher, he could only take Huda back to the shade of the tree and rest with his tongue out. Squeak! Just when the two little ones were resting, they suddenly heard a squeaking sound coming from above their heads. Looking up, I saw that on a nearby pine tree, about 3 or 4 meters high, the little sable from yesterday was imitating the way its brothers stuck out their tongues to cool down. It was also sticking out its tongue, pretending to be very hot. Ah! This made Tiger Brother very angry. With his not-so-smart brain, he recalled what happened yesterday and stood up and started yelling at the little sable on the tree. However, the little sable was not afraid at all. It even turned its head, wagged its tail and twisted its butt to provoke its younger brother Tiger. This little thing is so mean. Cang Nian was not so easily angered and could not help but complain in his heart. However, when he saw the little sable, Cang Nian's mind became active again. The sun is too strong these days and I can't go jogging. Why don't I try climbing a tree? Although yesterday's experience still made him a little scared. But how can you master such good skills if you don't overcome the psychological shadow? After struggling for a while, Cang Nian took a deep breath, took 2 steps back, ran with all his might, and then rushed up the tree trunk. However, after yesterday's lesson, he dared not crawl blindly again. Ding! Climb 1m, Climbing Skill Proficiency +1. 16/100, hearing the system prompt sound, which meant that the current height was 1 meter, Cang Nian stopped. Then, he recalled the transformation movements that Tiger Mom made before she climbed down the tree, turned around, and turned around. Then he fell from the tree with a plop. His technique was not yet perfect, and when he turned around, his legs fought each other and he accidentally lost his grip. Fortunately, the height was only 1 meter, which was not too high for a young man whose body length was already 40 centimeters. It was a little painful when he fell, but he was not injured. Squeak! Seeing that Cang Nian only dared to climb the tree at such a low height and even fell down, the little sable on the tree burst into laughter. Cang Nian completely ignored this. How can there be no failure in learning new skills? Failure is the mother of success. Try a few more times and you will find the feeling. Then you will definitely become proficient. He prepared himself mentally again, reviewed the reasons for his failure in his mind, thought of a solution, and Cang Nian climbed the tree again. Ding! Climb 1m, Climbing Skill Proficiency +1. 17/100, still stopping at a height of 1 meter, Cang Nian tried to turn around again. This time, his limbs did not fight, and he turned around successfully, then ran along the tree trunk. However, because the momentum was too fast, Cang Nian failed to maintain his balance, and his tiger face came into close contact with the ground, causing severe pain. Squeak! This time, the little sable's taunting was still present. But Cang Nian didn't believe it. He slowed down, waited until his face didn't hurt so much, and then climbed up the tree again. Ding! Climb 1m, Climbing Skill Proficiency +1. 18/100, turn around, dive, and kick. Snap! Cang Nian's 4 claws landed lightly on the ground, and he climbed up and down the tree in one go. Phew, finally succeeded. After suffering 2 setbacks, Cang Nian finally succeeded the 3rd time and was in a much happier mood. My efforts were not in vain. Squeak! Seeing Cang Nian succeed, the little sable was stunned for a moment, then jumped up a few meters on the tree, then rushed down again, repeating this 3 times, and then looked at Cang Nian and squeaking. It was obvious that Cang Nian successfully climbed up and down the tree. It felt a little embarrassed for having mocked it just now, so it demonstrated how easy it was to climb up and down, indicating that Cang Nian still had a lot of work to do in climbing trees. Seeing this, Cang Nian was not angry, but looked at the tiger brother beside him and patted its butt. Oh! Brother Hu looked at Cang Nian in confusion, completely bewildered. Ah! Cang Nian raised his paw and pointed at the tree trunk, signaling him to try climbing the tree as well. Oh! Tiger brother could still understand such a simple body movement, and quickly shook his head and took 2 steps back. It just saw Cang Nian fall down twice, and the second time he landed on his face. It looked painful. Ah! Seeing that this guy retreated habitually again, Cang Nian was very disappointed and pointed at the little sable on the tree. If you can't climb a tree, you'll be mocked by that little thing for the rest of your life. The little sable was also quite cooperative. When it saw Cang Nian pointing at it, it turned around, wagged its tail and butt, showing a mocking attitude. Oh! This time, Tiger Brother certainly couldn't stand it anymore. His lazy eyes suddenly became firm and he nodded. It wants to learn to climb a tree. It's going to catch that little thing. Chapter 23. Seeing that brother who finally picked up his fighting spirit and was no longer lazy, a smile appeared on Cang Nian's face. There is no doubt that Tiger Brother has talent, but he does not have the system's constant numerical stimulation to motivate him like himself, which leads to his lack of attention to training. He is lazy whenever he can and is too lazy. Now the existence of the little sable has ignited Tiger Brother's fighting spirit, which is undoubtedly a good thing. Although the two male tigers must travel separately after they grow up to find their own mates and pass on their bloodlines, Cang Nian hopes that he can be strong enough to become the overlord of the jungle before he separates from them. Otherwise, given the size of the Siberian tiger population, it would be difficult for them to find a mate amid the fierce competition. Roar! Thinking of this, Cang Nian let out a soft roar and commanded his tiger brother to climb the tree. Hudi is bigger in size, and his limbs are slightly stronger than Cang Nian's, but he is relatively fat and cannot run as fast as Cang Nian. Therefore, according to Cang Nian's estimation, Tiger Brother's limb strength should be enough to climb up and down the tree. Hearing his brother's urging, Tiger Brother recalled Tiger Mom's actions and Cang Nian's actions of climbing up and down the tree just now. He took a few steps back and then rushed forward suddenly. But just as it rushed to the main trunk of the pine tree, it suddenly became a little scared and closed its eyes. Bang! There was a dull thud, and Tiger Brother fell to the ground in a daze. Seeing this, Cang Nian hurriedly trotted to the Tiger Brother and used his claws to straighten its head, but saw that the Tiger Brother had already rolled his eyes. Why do I have such a stupid brother? How can he just rush forward behind closed doors? Cang Nian suddenly had the urge to cover his face and complained in his heart. Because of fear, Tiger Brother rushed with his eyes closed and knocked himself out. This is really something, squeak. At this time, there was another squeaking sound from above. Cang Nian looked up and saw that it was indeed the little sable, who was now looking down at Tiger Brother and laughing with his hand covering his mouth. Woo! Perhaps because he had recovered, or perhaps because he heard the giggles of the little sable above his head, Tiger Brother woke up slowly and stood up staggeringly. When he looked up, he saw that the little sable was indeed mocking him. Tiger Brother immediately raised his head in anger and howled. It seems like I need to demonstrate it a few more times. Looking at his younger brother who had not lost his enthusiasm, Cang Nian sighed in his heart. But there is no way. Brother Tiger is not like himself. He is an adult who was reincarnated as a tiger and has a more mature way of thinking. Tiger Brother is only a 14-day-old tiger cub. Other tiger cubs of this age are still crawling around in the small space of the den, but Tiger Brother can now crawl steadily and will soon be able to jog. It can be said that he is doing quite well. Don't demand too much of it. Ah! After thinking for a while, Cang Nian first growled at the Tiger Brother to divert its attention to himself, and then walked to the pine tree. Then, he raised his two front paws, placed them on the tree trunk, and gradually transformed himself into a backward upright position. After doing all this, Cang Nian retreated again, stood on four paws, and repeated the previous action. In this way, Cang Nian performed this action 5 times before stopping. Ah! Then, Cang Nian looked at his younger brother Tiger, raised his paw and pointed at the tree trunk, signaling his younger brother Tiger to imitate his movements and give it a try. Fortunately, although Tiger Brother's IQ is not high, the two brothers have been together for such a long time that he can understand a lot of Cang Nian's unique way of expression. Under Cang Nian's expectant gaze, it successfully understood Cang Nian's body language, slowly walked to the tree trunk, and raised its front paws like Cang Nian. Beiji! But the next second, it fell flat on its face. It looks like Tiger Brother's balance ability isn't good enough to lift his front paws at the same time. Looking at the fallen Tiger Brother, Cang Nian suddenly understood the reason for the fall and felt a little embarrassed. But he soon figured out a solution, growled and asked Tiger Brother to look at him, then demonstrated it again. The action this time is almost the same as before, with only one difference. That is the action of climbing a tree with the front paws. It changed from lifting both paws off the ground and placing them on the tree trunk to lifting and placing both front paws one after another. This way, brother tiger won't fall. After repeating this action 5 times, Cang Nian stepped back and motioned Hu Di to imitate him and try again. Fortunately, brother Hu was not a quick-witted person when it came to learning how to climb trees and catch the little sables. Although he fell, he did not get discouraged. He imitated Cang Nian's movements and tried to do it step by step. This time, the steps were optimized, and Tiger Brother completed this step with his excellent physical fitness. Seeing this, Cang Nian nodded with satisfaction. Although there is still a long way to go before he can really climb a tree, but Tiger Brother can understand what he is saying, so it is only a matter of time before he learns it. Then, Cang Nian raised his claw in front of Tiger Brother, controlled the relaxation of his claws, and flicked out the claw blade hidden between the pads of his claws. This surprised Tiger Brother and his eyes lit up. Then, Cang Nian placed his claws, which had already ejected their blades, on the tree trunk. The sharp claw blades embedded themselves into the bark, and Cang Nian shook his claws exaggeratedly a few times. The claw blade held the claw firmly to the bark and did not fall off. Seeing this, Tiger Brother also raised his claws, but he couldn't see where the claw blade was. Woo! Seeing this, Tiger Brother whimpered in worry. It understood what Cang Nian meant, which was that it must dig its claws into the bark in order to climb the tree. But it seems not. Seeing this, Cang Nian's heart skipped a beat. I was so busy teaching my little Tiger Brother how to climb trees that I didn't even know if he had grown claws. Although Tiger Brother's current size is equivalent to that of a 3-month-old tiger cub, he definitely has claw blades. But it is now a half-month-old tiger cub, and it is hard to say whether it has claw blades. Thinking of this, Cang Nian asked Tiger Brother to put his claws on the ground, and he used his claws to scratch it. Because he wanted to learn how to climb trees, the little tiger was very well behaved and stretched out his claws to let Cang Nian play with him. Fortunately, I have claw blades, and they are not limp. They are quite strong and should be able to handle the task of climbing trees. Cang Nian breathed a sigh of relief and thought thankfully. If Tiger Brother cannot learn to climb trees for the time being because his claws have not grown well, it will greatly dampen his enthusiasm for learning. Then, Cang Nian spent some time teaching Tiger Brother how to flexibly eject and retract the claw blades. Fortunately, this is one of the instinctive actions engraved in the genes of tigers. Tiger Brother had never seen it before, so he didn't understand how to operate it. After Cang Nian gave him some pointers, he quickly understood and mastered the operation. The Tiger Brother who learned how to pop out and retract his claw blades flexibly was like a child who got a new toy. He happily popped out, retracted, popped out, and retracted his claw blades over and over again, having a lot of fun. Oh! Then, as if it remembered something, it raised its head, raised one of its front paws, and waved it proudly at the little sable on the tree. The tiger cub who has witnessed its mother hunting knows that this is an important weapon for the tiger. Its current movements seem to be saying, wait. When I learn how to climb a tree and catch you, I will let you taste the power of my claws. Chapter 24. Squeak. Little Sable was not afraid of Brother Tiger's arrogance at all. Even the young man who is more agile in climbing trees is still in the initial stage and only dares to practice at a height of 1 meter. The Little Sable doesn't take Tiger Brother, who can't even climb a tree, seriously at all. Even if I can climb a tree, what can I do? Is it possible to catch a sable, a natural tree climber? Impossible. The only tiger mom who could threaten it did not do anything to it for some reason. But that doesn't matter anymore. All it knows is that tiger mom won't catch it. In this case, what can the two little guys do? Therefore, the fearless Little Sable sneered at his younger brother Tiger and mocked him in his own way. This made Tiger Brother very angry, and he cried out in anxiety. However, it is no longer just anxious. After howling a few times at the Little Sable on the tree, Tiger Brother looked at Cang Nian, sobbing and begging. Please teach me how to climb a tree. In Hu Di's opinion, Cang Nian opened his eyes earlier than him, learned to walk earlier than him, and ran faster than him. As long as he learns from Cang Nian, he will definitely be able to learn. Roar! Cang Nian's face lit up with joy, and he motioned to Tiger Brother to watch his demonstration. Brother Hu was inspired by the Little Sable to take the initiative to ask to learn, which was the situation that Cang Nian most wanted to see. After adjusting twice, Cang Nian first demonstrated again how to climb a tree at a normal speed. Then, he repeated the same action of climbing the tree, slowing down his speed. Then, according to Tiger's lack of balance and inability to lift his front paws at the same time, he changed his posture in climbing the tree, and placed his two front paws on the tree trunk one after another, and climbed the tree in this way. Finally, he broke down the tree climbing process into several independent steps. The first step is to bounce with your front paws. With Tiger Brother's ability to balance, he certainly can't complete such a difficult action as jumping onto a tree in one step. But Tiger Brother's strength should be better than his own, so giving up the initial momentum brought by the high-speed sprint and directly standing still with his claws might be the most suitable way for Tiger Brother to climb the tree now. After demonstrating this step 5 times, Cang Nian signaled Hu Di to try it himself. Sure enough, such targeted adjustments are indeed in line with Tiger Brother's behavioral habits. It only tried 5 or 6 times before it successfully bounced both front paws to a high enough position at once and fixed them firmly. Seeing this, Cang Nian asked it to practice this movement for a while so that it could get familiar with the feeling of exerting force. This time, Tiger Brother was no longer lazy as usual, but repeated the movements very seriously. Cang Nian himself began to climb the tree. Just like before, I only climbed to a height of 1 meter, and when I heard the system prompt, I turned back and climbed down the tree. After going back and forth for a while, the proficiency of the climbing skill reached the 30 level. Cang Nian looked at Tiger Brother again and saw that he was already able to skillfully bounce with his front paws, and could bounce his front paws to a height that was higher than the height of his head when his hind legs were upright. Seeing this, Cang Nian stopped Hu Di and began to teach him the next steps. This time, Cang Nian repeated the jumping action of his front paws, but he did not stop after the action. Instead, he used his forearms to exert force to grasp the tree trunk firmly. Then he jumped and retracted his hind paws lightly, allowing them to rest on the bottom of the trunk, 5 centimeters above the ground. At this point, Cang Nian had completely left the ground, with his entire body attached to the tree trunk. Just like before, Cang Nian demonstrated the action of retracting the hind paws and placing them on the tree trunk 5 times, and then let Tiger Brother try it on his own and climb the tree to improve his proficiency. At the beginning, Tiger Brother always couldn't keep his balance when retracting his hind paws, and then fell down with his arms and legs spread out. However, the height of 5 centimeters from the ground was not painful for Tiger Brother. He was very enthusiastic about learning to climb trees, so he did not complain or feel tired, and practiced very seriously. Hard work pays off. When Cang Nian's climbing skill proficiency reached the 50th level, Tiger Brother could finally complete this action 100%. Seeing this, Cang Nian returned to Hu Di, combined the previous 2 actions, and finally climbed up step by step. After being demonstrated several times, Brother Hu couldn't wait to try it himself. This step is actually the simplest, because it is no different from normal walking, except that now it is perpendicular to the ground, and you need to continuously pop out the claws and grab the bark to fix yourself and not fall. Therefore, there is no need for Cang Nian to climb trees to kill time. As soon as Hu Di tries it, he can move up little by little. All that's left is for it to become proficient and improve its speed. Squeak! Just when Tiger Brother was excited about climbing up a few steps, the mocking voice of the little sable came from the tree again. After knowing that Tiger Mom would not do anything to him, the little sable became more arrogant. Seeing this, Brother Tiger was so angry that he climbed up alternately using his limbs. Seeing this, Cang Nian was startled. Yesterday, before I learned how to get down from the tree, I rashly climbed to a height of 15 meters and almost couldn't come down. If Tiger Brother climbs too high and runs out of energy, and falls down accidentally, he will die. But Cang Nian had just learned how to climb trees, and Tiger Brother was much heavier than himself, so it was impossible for him to climb up the tree and bring Tiger Brother down. Seeing Tiger Brother climbing higher and higher, Cang Nian ran towards Tiger Mom in desperation. Ah! Ding! Nehu once, Nehu skill proficiency +1. 93/100, while running, Cang Nian shouted loudly. Hearing Cang Nian's roar, Tiger Mom woke up from her nap, opened her eyes and looked at Cang Nian in confusion. Ah! Seeing this, Cang Nian pointed with his claws at his Tiger Brother who had climbed to a height of more than 2 meters. Tiger Mom understood the situation instantly and her face turned dark. These 2 little brats are so troublesome. Yesterday the younger one climbed up a tree and wouldn't come down, and now the older one is doing the same thing today? However, no matter how unhappy you are, the child is more important. So, the tiger mother started moving instantly, and in a few seconds she rushed to the tree trunk where the tiger brother was, grabbed it and jumped off the trunk. A height of 2 or 3 meters is just a small amount higher than her standing height for the tiger mom. At this time, tiger brother was still thinking about climbing up the tree, catching the little sable, and teaching it a lesson. However, as soon as it raised its head, it saw the serious face of the tiger mother. After taking care of the 2 cubs for half a month, tiger mom already has a certain understanding of the brother's positioning. Cang Nian is smart and hardworking, so you don't need to worry too much. Tiger brother is lazy, has the intelligence of an average cub, and does things without considering the consequences. So, when Cang Nian couldn't get down from the tree yesterday, he found a branch to save energy, and then cried loudly for help, but tiger mom didn't get angry. But brother tiger doesn't know any of these things, and he tries to climb up so recklessly. If he falls down, the consequences will be disastrous. Thinking of this, tiger mom made her expression more serious, ready to let tiger brother understand the seriousness of the matter. Seeing the strange atmosphere, Cang Nian didn't dare to continue climbing the tree. Besides, the hottest noon had passed, so he ran to the open space to practice his jogging skills. It's hard to bear when the tigress gets angry. Chapter 25. On the 15th day after birth, Cang Nian went for running exercise as usual. As for how tiger mom taught tiger brother a lesson yesterday, Cang Nian had no idea. All he knew was that brother tiger howled for a long time yesterday. Ding! Jog 1000m, jog skill proficiency +1. 17/100, and the proficiency of jogging skills is also increasing steadily. Yesterday's 7-level proficiency goal was successfully completed, so today's goal is naturally to add 1 more level. After all, he is growing every day, and even if his proficiency in any skill does not improve, his physical fitness is improving. Sure enough, by noon, the proficiency of jogging skills had reached the 19th level. After finishing the 19th floor, I ran for a while and was not far from the 20th floor. After eating and drinking, Cang Nian took a rest for a while, but saw tiger mom teaching tiger brother to climb a tree. It must be because something almost happened yesterday that tiger mom had to personally watch over and teach him. Cang Nian thought speculatively. But it's okay this way. With tiger mom teaching him how to climb trees, tiger brother should be able to master how to get down from trees quickly. And you will also have plenty of time to hone your climbing skills. Thinking of this, Cang Nian walked to a nearby pine tree and began to review the movements. Climb up the tree, climb down the tree, climb up the tree, climb down the tree. In order to reduce unnecessary danger, Cang Nian first practiced climbing up and down a tree at a height of 1 meter 10 times. Squeak! At this moment, a familiar squeak came from the tree. When I looked up, I saw that the little sable was standing about 3 or 4 meters up in the tree, watching me going up and down the tree and laughing at me. Wasn't this little thing always staying in that tree? Why did it change its location? A doubt flashed through Cang Nian's mind, but he suddenly realized it the next second. The tiger mother was teaching her little tiger brother how to climb up and down the tree. The little sable was not afraid of herself and her little tiger brother, but was afraid of the tiger mother. Although the tiger mom was probably too lazy to touch such a small thing, the fear engraved deep in the genes made the little sable dare not stay there any longer. The trees in the jungle are relatively close together, and the sable is a good tree climber. With its light body, jumping from the top of one tree to the top of another is a basic operation for it. After figuring it out, Cang Nian was too lazy to pay attention to it. My climbing skills are far inferior to those of the little sable. If I rush up to catch it now, I will only bring humiliation upon myself. Not only can't we do anything to it, but we can make fun of it instead. Cang Nian doesn't like being abused. It's better to endure it for the time being, wait until your climbing skills evolve a few times, and then catch it off guard. The tree jumping skill shown by the little sable today made Cang Nian feel that evolving once might not be enough to deal with the little sable. Ignoring the little sable, Cang Nian climbed 2 meters this time and then turned back down the tree. The higher the altitude, the greater the final impact when descending from the tree, and the better the technique required to avoid injury. The tiger mom's way of dealing with it is to kick her legs in advance to launch herself out, adjust her posture in the air and land on all fours, so as to increase the force area and reduce the impact on the limbs. If not, at such a high altitude, only the front paws will touch the ground to bear all the impact, and the paws will be broken. Cang Nian analyzed the situation based on his actual feelings and tiger mom's actions. Then he climbed to a height of 3 meters again and returned to climb down the tree. This time, based on his own analysis, he imitated Tiger Mom's actions, kicked his legs half a meter off the ground, bounced his body away from the tree trunk, and adjusted his posture in the air. I was lucky enough to land smoothly, and the impact on my front paws was much smaller than when I was 2 meters high before. After confirming his guess, Cang Nian smiled. Then, he tried to increase the altitude little by little to test his limits. Ding! Climb 1M, Climbing Skill Proficiency +1. 100/100, ding! Congratulations to the host, the climbing skill proficiency has reached the maximum value, and this skill has evolved into crawling climbing. Just as he was conducting his 10th extreme test, a system prompt sounded. Then he felt his limbs become stronger and more powerful, and he climbed the tree much faster. At this time, he had already climbed to a height of 10 meters, and the little sable was driven by him to climb higher. He turned back, sprinted, and climbed down the tree, all in one go. He felt that the height he had climbed down the tree in one go had increased significantly. The last time he took an extreme test, the height was 9 meters. When he jumped down, he already felt numbness in his limbs. This time, at a height of 10 meters, he landed smoothly and only felt a slight vibration. Obviously, his maximum height has been greatly improved. However, for safety reasons, he did not climb any higher. In case he could not come down again, he would probably not be able to escape what happened to Tiger Brother yesterday. So, in order not to make Tiger Mom angry, Cang Nian used a height of 10 meters to brush up the proficiency of the climbing skills he had just evolved. Just as he expected, the proficiency of the climbing skill increased by 10 meters at each level. To evolve this skill, he had to climb a total of 1000 meters. After the evolution, Cang Nian's tree climbing speed has been significantly improved. It only takes 1 minute to climb a height of 10 meters. If that's the case, it will take 100 minutes for this skill to evolve again. Although it cannot be calculated so simply, including climbing up and down the tree, as well as necessary rest, half a day is definitely enough. Now that my physical fitness is stronger, I can improve my proficiency faster. When I was just born, it took me 5 days to develop from the crawling skill to the crawling skill, and 7 days to develop from the crawling skill to the jogging skill. As a result, it only takes half a day to evolve climbing skills, which is great. Cang Nian calculated the progress bar and immediately smiled. Wait. I have good physical fitness, so my proficiency level increases quickly. My skill chain of crawling jogging makes my limbs stronger, so my tree climbing skill can be trained so quickly. The climbing skill also improves the strength of the limbs after evolution, so does that mean that my jogging speed will also be improved accordingly? Therefore, as I accumulate proficiency in jogging skills, I can also be faster. Cang Nian analyzed this cause and effect relationship and was immediately astonished. Before, he had always viewed different skill chains as independent and unrelated individuals. But now that I think about it, there are actually some skills that complement each other. In fact, he had noticed it as early as when he was just born, but he did not analyze it in depth. For example, the stronger your milk drinking skill is, the more you can eat, and the faster your digestion skill will improve. Similarly, the stronger the digestive skill, the greater the need for food, and the faster the proficiency of the milk drinking skill will increase. And now, he has found a pair of skill chains that feed each other. Both running and climbing are affected by the strength of the limbs, and after evolution, the strength of the limbs is also strengthened. Oh, right. There's also claw strike. When it evolves, not only does it strengthen the claw blade, it also strengthens the explosive power of the forelimbs. And jumping strengthens the explosive power of the hind limbs. In addition, there is the sound of milk. The sound is produced by the vibration of air. A loud voice means a strong cardiopulmonary capacity, which can also enhance the endurance of jogging. It's all connected, all connected. Cang Nian instantly learned from his experience and gained a deeper understanding of his various skills. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to the channel so you are notified of future uploads. You can find the next parts in the playlist visible on the screen or on my channel. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.